I know we have a lot of stuff left on this list, but this is by far, to me, the most memorable moment. Hey, hi, hello, everybody, and welcome back. We've got some more Subnautica content here for you today, and this time, well, we've got a tier maker. This is actually the first tier list I've ever done on this channel, but it seemed that with Subnautica 2 coming soon, I really wanted to go over the base Subnautica and some of the Subnautica below zero biomes and really talk about why I enjoyed them so much, what I think could be better in some scenarios, but ultimately, we're going to put them where they belong in this tier list, and we're going to see just how many of you agree with what I say or disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. Let's get on into it. Let's check it on out. I will say, it has been a while since we've played Subnautica ourselves, and when I got into this to test the commands and really see what was going on, I scared myself because I teleported myself off the map into the ecological dead zone and immediately ulted forward. For a second, I forgot I had thalassophobia, and then I ended up in the ecological dead zone and reminded myself how to deal with thalassophobia real fucking quick. I kind of forgot how terrifying this game really can be. The good news is, in order to see some stuff better, in the commands you can type fog, just F-O-G, boom, put it there, and you can kind of see a little bit more around you. So we'll be using this to kind of check out a little bit more of the biomes as well. We'll swim around, obviously. We'll teleport where we can. We'll do what we gotta do to really get the most out of where we're going. Of course, with a tier list, you would always want to explain why the tier list is what it is. We have our tiers here. S rank, the Emperor, the almighty Leviathan. An S rank biome is a biome that sets out to do a job and accomplishes it perfectly. Whether we're talking about the shallows and the resources that it has, the safety it feels, or the Lost River and this expansive world into a new side of an alien planet that just kind of doesn't exist anywhere else in the crater, at least. It doesn't have to have all the resources. It doesn't have to be the scariest. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful. But if it sets out to do a job well, and I think ultimately all the bits and pieces that help build that up into what it is, make it the perfect biome, it gets the S Emperor. And A, the dragon, the sea dragon ranking, is a biome that does a lot of things very well, but ultimately it probably misses just a few things here and there that either really pull you into the story or really pull you into what an alien world has to offer, but for the most part, still a memorable experience. It's not quite the S rank biome where when you think of Subnautica, this is the biome you think of, but it is still a biome that is very well received and across the board has a lot to offer to you, whether that is specifically beauty or resources or just cool creatures that might be inhabiting the area. The B tier for the biome is a biome that is probably something that you kind of need to go to experience at least a specific part of Subnautica. But it ultimately, it's not super important. There's not a whole lot that there's not really a whole lot that's pulling you towards that. You don't really want to go to this place, but you might for a couple things. You know, it's got its ups, it's got its downs, but it's definitely more ups than downs. The C tier biome. A biome that you probably have to go to just because the game wants you to. It's not really something, it's not really a memorable moment. It's just kind of there. This biome, you're going to be like, oh, I guess that does exist, huh? You know, that's a C rank biome. It's just there. It's just existing. The D biome, well, it's starting to get to, hey, this is annoying. This is probably not the kind of area that I want to be in right now. Whether I found myself there on accident or I had to go there on purpose, being in this biome kind of sucks. It's got a couple things, maybe some resources, maybe a couple cool creatures, but for the most part, it's not where I want to be. An F biome, the worst kind of biome at all. This biome is done terribly. The way that they put this into the game, this biome should just not exist, or they need a rehaul of all of it because why? Why is this here? Why is it the way it is? Why are the creatures the way it is? Why are there no resources? Whatever it is that makes this feel like an F tier biome, this is just something that should be removed from the game. Take it out. We don't need it anymore. With that being the case, let's get into our rankings. We've got our first one here, the safe shallows. We're going to combine these things together for now, and then we'll move them based off of whatever we end up deciding. But the safe shallows, you guys know the safe shallows so well. By this point in the game, you have officially gotten past the first cutscene. And to that I say, congratulations. You're doing it. You're doing it good. Safe shallows are so dangerous. Exactly. Everybody knows the safe shallows are actually dangerous because there's freaking stalkers that are there trying to eat your face off. And it happened to me in the first 30 seconds of being in the water. The safe shallows are bullshit. F tier, F. Okay, we're not going to do that. Everything's fine. The stalker can't hurt you, Kritur. It's inside the computer. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Genuinely speaking, though, When I did first get into this game, look at this. It is colorful. There are fish flying all over the place, glowing and whatnot. This Safe Shallows gave me hope. It really did. It gave me hope the game wasn't going to be as horrifying as it was. And then it shot that hope when you look out into the abyss far over there. But that's for a different biome another day. Regardless, the Safe Shallows, honestly, I have a question for you, dear viewer. How many of you grabbed 1,000,000 acid mushrooms on the way? Huh? Because you just saw colors and you said, ooh, shiny, and you went... I guarantee you all did. I absolutely did. Look, the Safe Shallows has a few things in it. Obviously, all the stuff you need to survive. Everyone who's ever played has grabbed the acid mushrooms like crazy. But look at this scene. This is just a someone's background on their computer somewhere. I fully believe that. This is so beautiful. The Safe Shallows really brings you into what Subnautica has to offer right away. Noof, thank you for the 25 bits. And it's as Noof said, it's just yummy. I don't really think there's really much you can hate on about this place. It's the safety that you need. It is all the color and beauty that you could ever want, all the food, and a ton of the resources that you'd want as well. This is pretty simple because this sets like the precedent for what Subnautica is going to be. I think it's a pretty simple A. It pulls you into the game very well, and it offers you a little bit of peace, a little bit of solitude in a planet with so many things trying to kill you. The Safe Shallows will forever be my best friend. It cannot be S. It doesn't really tackle what the entirety of the game is trying to get you to do, but at the very least, lets you experience a tiny bit of the alien world, just enough to where it compels you to want to keep going, you know? The Safe Shallows, no matter where you are in the Safe Shallows, it is just quite literally a biome that, hey, this is my first experience on this alien world. And it's beautiful. It really is. It's going to encourage me to keep going. It's going to make me want to see more. And it's going to make me enjoy kind of the wildlife around here. Hey, look at this fish. Look at that fish. Wow, there's so many little things that I get to discover and kind of build upon. And ultimately, like I said, there's safety here. Safety in Subnautica is a blessing. Not a lot of biomes offer it. But safety, it might as well be lithium. It might as well be the freaking ion cubes. It's something that I need in my Subnautica playthrough, and I'm here for it. Thank you, Safe Shallows, for existing. I really appreciate you. Safety is precious, absolutely, like a diamond in the rough. You could force it to explode right now, explode ship, and do it. You should do it immediately. Really? Technically, I did that. I hope I'm not on a list somewhere. All right, on to the next biome. We've got a kelp forest here. Green is a terrible color. the green is a great color for this, you know what I mean? And we're here. I despise these things like absolutely no other. We are swimming around a little bit, specifically because it helps you get that Subnautica feel that you'd want to get, right? And, well, here we are in the kelp forest. I think when I think of the kelp forest, I think of a few assholes specifically that really just ruined my day. I don't know where they're at right now, but they're somewhere out there, and they're gonna yell in my ear soon. The stalkers are your introduction, I think, to the danger of Subnautica, and I kind of wouldn't have it any other way. As much as I'd like the stalkers, I hate them so much as well. They are so loud for no reason. Hey, buddy, fuck you. Wasn't talking about you at all. They are so loud for no reason, but they are also, for the most part, kind of gentle, you know? Imagine you spawn in the Safe Shallows, right? And through here in the kelp forest is a Reaper Leviathan. A little bit too much, right? A little bit too much early on, but the stalkers are a good introduction to what dangers this world has to offer. And honestly, I think this is beautiful. I think this is beautiful. When you have your creep vines and all the orange glow to contrast all the green, I think it's a fantastic place to be. My only issue with this place is it does feel like you get a bit lost sometimes, but again, I think it's an ideal introduction area. Other than the Safe Shallows, this place really shows you how to manage your oxygen. You've got a couple bubbles here and there and whatnot. You got some crazy caves and all that, but for the most part, it's just saying, hey, if you go too far into this cave or go too far over here and whatnot, you're gonna maybe regret it. It's coexistence. You don't steal metal scrap. They don't attack most of the times. Exactly. I think, again, the stalkers are a good starting point for the wildlife here, because they can mess with you quite a bit, but they can also just leave you alone and help you out. It's that symbiotic relationship that you've got here going with these guys, essentially, where they give me teeth, I give them metal, you know? I think the kelp forest is a solid A. It does what you want it to do and it looks good. I think so as well. Honestly, I think this does exactly what Subnautica is trying to do as well. And this might be like we're going a little bit too strong here, giving everything's A rankings. But again, the safe shallows are there to give you that safety, to show you, hey, this is in fact an alien world. There's a lot of stuff here that can keep you alive. Do your thing, exist, experience it, enjoy the beauty for now. And then you go over to the kelp forest and it says, oh, by the way, here's some danger. And I think while the safe shallows is your introduction to the alien planet's beauty and its resources, the kelp forest is the perfect example of, whether you're at the west, south, or east, the perfect example of the danger that this planet has to offer. I think personally it is an A. I think it just is an A because it doesn't really have to do anything else other than what it does. Because you'll find quite a few things here, as you can tell. And as they're scattered all throughout, but you've also got your creep finds themselves that, while they are just, you know, a natural part of how this planet works, they also hide some stuff from you. And so it just forces you to really embrace the adventure that Subnautica wants you to go on. So it's an easy A for me. That brings us onto the grassy plateaus. I believe if you click on these, the grassy plateaus, as you can tell based off the map, you've got your safe shallows here. And then as you start to adventure out, you see that there's usually like a ring around you of these other different biomes. So there's the kelp forest here, which is all the different parts that we kind of swim through right now. Obviously, you've got the smaller sections and whatnot, but for the most part, there's a lot of cave systems that will travel through all these areas. And because they're so close together, you don't really have to worry about them being split apart. You can kind of put them all into one specific biome. And then you get your grassy plateaus, which kind of start showing you, hey, while the mushroom forest might have an east and west, and they're two specifically separated locations by a bunch of different biomes in between, this is starting to say like, hey, there are the same biomes across quite a bit wider of a region as well. So you get here, grassy plateaus, I think is the first introduction into how open this game can really get. So here we are, we're 105 meters down. You've got your reef backs, you've got the debris that's everywhere, you've got your red grass, you got your loving sand sharks that are louder than fuck as well. Why is everything in this game so loud for no reason? I think I remember my first grassy plateau experience, and it really was actually being scared of those guys. Those guys terrified me. The openness of this area, it actually makes me nervous. It has been a while since I played Subnautica, but when you get into an open area like this, and all you see is blue, I'm good. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here right now. I will pass. Said it today. At night, obviously, everything's way scarier, but we're trying to see the biome a little bit better. So we're here. Grassy Plateau shows how open and deep this ocean can be, also close to the safe shallows. This is true. There's not a whole lot of danger here. This area has a ton of resources, though. It has so much to grab. You've got your sea moths, your sea glides, you've got your salt, you've got all your different rocks that are everywhere scattered all over between. You don't have as many fish that you want to eat and whatever else like that, but obviously the safe shallows and the kelp forest are there for that. And then it's got the new enemies who kind of just show you, hey, some things are just meant to be assholes. Some things are just meant to be assholes. Stalkers, not always. They can be nice to you and whatever else. But sand sharks, they're not your friend. Not everything here wants to try and be your friend, or maybe just bite onto some metal. Sometimes they want to bite on you and your ass cheeks. And it don't feel good when they bite your ass cheeks, trust me. The openness of this area really threw me off when I first started playing it. Again, I've got thalassophobia. I know it's a kind of a buzzword that gets tossed around a lot sometimes on the internet these days. I just can't do some of these moments. Not without hyping myself up for 5 to 10 minutes, and this was one of them. Even though the reef backs are nice, they're precious giants. I probably took a good 10 minutes of having to talk myself into going near one. This is where I think the beauty of Subnautica kind of goes to die. As cool as this place looks, and again, just an opinion, I think some people will probably look at this and think how awesome it is. I really found this place to be kind of dull. You know, not everywhere on a planet needs to be bright and colorful and extravagant like no other. But the beauty isn't really saturated around here. The color kind of goes. When I saw all of this, I wasn't very disappointed, as I was just so not eager to go here. You know, open land, didn't seem like there'd be too much, but there is in fact a lot of resources. There are so many resources here that you can't ignore it. To me, even though this area is really good at it showing you how open the ocean can be. That's kind of something we all knew. Nobody came into this game thinking, well, we're going to be inside a little ship the entire time. We're never going to see the big wide open. No. We knew what we were getting served into. Seeing it for the first time is a bit of a hit, but for the most part, I think this place is only good for its resources. However, because its resources are so abundant, I will knock it up to a B. If it wasn't so resource abundant, I would actually toss it at a C. It should be high because I see so many people build bases. Yeah, I think this is a biome that isn't exactly like the one you think of for Subnautica, but it is the one that helps you experience Subnautica, if that makes sense. It is very good to have a base built here because when you're here, it means less scavenging around to be able to go out and explore wherever else. It's a tool. It's a good tool. And I think at most, it has to be in B because all I think of it as is a tool. I think at most, it's whenever I hear about this, it is a build location and is a tool to help you experience Subnautica, and that is it. We obviously only did go around the one grassy plateau, but there's just not really a whole lot of variety between all of these. You get there, you see the red grass, you know there's going to be some wreckage, and then you go and scavenge and find what you can. Again, this is probably the best place to really get stuff going, other than when you get to, Mushroom Forest and all those stuff like that. But that's for a different time. It's not very deep here. It is very open and it is very safe for the most part. Sand sharks, sand shark, schman shark. We're leaving grassy plateaus at B. I think all across the board, all of these areas feel the same. Maybe some of them have better scans than the other ones do. I would put the north above all the rest, other than the south right here. But that's about as far as I would put it. It's a good tool, nothing more. Then we got Jelly Shroom Cave. Jelly Shroom Cave is probably the worst biome in the game, is what a fool would say. S tier. Yeah, it's S tier. It really is S tier. This is boom, alien world, tossed on your head. I don't even have to think about it too much. I don't even have to go into the game to know that, but we're going to do it anyways. Jelly Shroom is very cool looking, but forced to go in. I don't think it's bad necessarily that you get forced to go in here. I actually agree with kind of being forced to go in here. This is the first big biome that kind of shows you, again, the dangers of now diving deep rather than just being out in wherever area. This is where I first got lost. I've seen about 3 or 4 other people play Subnautica, and this is also where they first almost got lost and died. I got lost and died? Exactly, Jessica. I'm saying type shit. This is a first kill area for sure, because you see the beautiful shrooms, you see the crazy creatures, you know there's good resources down here. They even leave it out in the open for you. That's how cruel this is. You know what they do is they put this stuff out in the open and they go, those idiots are gonna fall for it. And guess what? I'm the idiot. I fell for it. I swam straight to all of these things. I said, how do I get more? And then I looked up and I was like, oh shit. I'm lost. I'm in danger. And getting out was hard. I got lucky a couple times. I saw quite a few others not get so lucky. The creatures in here, not too crazy, not too extravagant, whatever else. I think it's the real Subnautica experience. This is a biome that a lot of people almost instantly think of when they think of Subnautica. This is the first deep dive for a lot of people. This is the first death for a lot of people. This is the first really crazy, beautiful ecosystem filled with wild and weird creatures like these freaking little bitch snakes over here. Sorry. They also get loud. I have a thing against loud creatures in this game, but it also's got good resources as well. It's a test of how patient can you be, how well can you keep track of your navigation going into these caves, and how much do you really want it? How much do you really want to explore, to learn, to scan, to get new PDAs, to get new items? You've got your habitats that are kind of every which way, and then of course you see over here, boom, this is what I was looking for. Lava. It's a bit of foreshadowing, showing you, hey, the deeper you go, by the way, there's some shit down here, you know? You don't really get the full taste of what exactly is going to happen in the future, but I remember seeing this and thinking, holy shit, there's caves that lead down into lava areas. There's caves that look like this that have the danger of eruptions right next to them. All right, well shit, now I'm a little worried, now I'm a little scared. This might not be an S to many people, but again, I think it's just such an iconic look and such a pivotal moment in so many Subnautica playthroughs that I keep this at an S. It probably won't be the top of S, but it is the perfect biome for Subnautica, and it is definitely one that I absolutely remember. Yeah, I guess it also shows you the variations, huh? You don't, what is that? Use your inside voice, please. You're in a cave. You're literally in a cave. There it is. There it is. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. How you doing? Yeah, it shows you the variations of the different animals, but also, what a cool animal. What a cool animal. Hey, buddy. Mwah. Love that guy. Hey, we'll catch you around, buddy. You stay beautiful. Love your biome. I used the Cyclops for one thing and one thing only, and it was for this fucker right here. Back of the Aurora. This Reaper was a piece of shit. I don't remember the name that the community decided to give it, but fuck that guy. Fuck that guy on a spiritual level. The biggest jump scare probably I've really ever experienced in Subnautica, and honestly my most memorable one ever. It is not only iconic to tell people to go to the back of the Aurora, but it is just... the Reaper roar rings in my head to this day on certain nights, and I just can't sleep. I just cannot sleep. We've got the Aurora here. And this is one, well, let's go check it out. Now picture this. You just spawned into an alien world. You had some fun exploring some of the little spots around the safe shallows. Maybe even found some cool gadgets and gizmos. A sea glide action. It glitches out just like this, but you're having the time of your life. What could possibly go wrong in this world? Not a whole lot, honestly. Really not a whole lot. Oh, well, there's a big ship. Of course, that would be a good starting point, right? You're back on day one of Subnautica. You see the giant ship at the horizon, and you realize after all the things you've done, this is probably one of the things next on the list. So you swim on over. The water changes a little bit, but no big deal. Where'd all the wildlife go? Interesting. Why is everything dead over here? It just... And then you see it for the first time. The Reaper Leviathan is the only reason to be in the waters near this damn ship. The back of the Aurora. This is the one that killed me in my first playthrough, and again, it is probably one of my most memorable gaming experiences ever, if not the most memorable. It is one, to this day, I still get likes on for a video that happened however many months ago. It is truly a treat to come to the Aurora. However, we're not here to talk about the Reaper. We're here to talk about the biome specifically. And there's really only one reason to go near the Aurora. It's to go inside the Aurora when the game eventually needs you to kind of figure some stuff out, get some radiation, maybe get your prawn suit, whatever the heck else. Crash Zone is literally just worth it for engine fragments. Here's the thing. The Crash Zone has some resources in it, but ultimately, you don't actually have to go there at all for any of this stuff. The prawn suit you can get from the inside of the Aurora. Everything that the Crash Zone has to offer, you can just get in easier places that's not surrounded by Reapers, where you don't have to constantly hear the roaring. Now, the Reaper itself, again, iconic, absolutely amazing, 10 out of 10 creation. Whoever thought of it, hey, kudos to you and all that you do. Whoever did the roar, kudos to you and all that you do. But that's pretty much the entirety of the Crash Zone. If you're displacing what the Aurora is, again, it's not its biome, we're here to talk about the water around it, then the rest of it is pretty much go here for a meme to meet an iconic character. That is the gist of what this is, because all the resources that you can get from here, they're elsewhere as well. You don't have to go here. There's almost no reason to ever go on the far side of the Crash Zone. I would say actually one better, there is no reason to go around. The only thing you need to do is go inside the Aurora to the front on the left side and then back. And you never need to touch that far side. People do it because it's fun, because it's content, because of whatever the heck else. But you don't have to ever touch there. There's no reason. It's just danger. If in fact, and this might be a little harsh to some, it is just stupid. Once you know what's there, you shouldn't be going. This one to me, and only because of the Reaper, should not be an F, it should be a D. It really should be a D. Because it's just useless. It is a useless biome. There's nothing that it offers in any shape and form. But the Reaper Leviathan is there. And not just one. More than one, quite a few. There's a whole family there. So it automatically, I think, brings it up to a B. Specifically, the back of the Aurora. Boom. It has fragments, yes, but there's no reason to go fight 30 Reapers for those fragments. It is below the grassy plateaus. This is what I would consider the opposite, actually, of the grassy plateaus. And again, we're not ranking this based off of just resources, just beauty, just whatever else like that. We're ranking off of what it has to offer in terms of what Subnautica brings to the table. Whether that is truly experiencing the beauty of an alien planet or really dealing with the dangers of the ecosystem that are there. The Reaper, number one, public enemy number one, is all around the Aurora. It is iconic to try and send people to the back of the Aurora and see if you control them. That's exactly what happened to me. Somebody told me to build my base in the back of the Aurora. Next thing I know, I'm getting eaten alive. It's just the way it goes. The biome itself is pretty bad. The Reaper is so S tier of a creature that it brings it all the way up to B. Because otherwise, without that, you just stay away from that area. No big deal. Life's good. This is, again, the opposite of the grassy plateaus, where grassy plateaus is all about the resources and all the things you can get there, the tool that it is, but not much else. This is the opposite of that. There's nothing else there, but there is one thing, so you go. And that's why we do it. That's exactly why I went around the Aurora in the first place, is because I knew there were some Reapers waiting. So I was told the Crash Zone Mesa is something that I haven't seen yet. So I'm actually curious, what is the Crash Zone Mesa? We actually have to figure this out. Because while I'm right here next to the Reaper, going around does nothing for me. There was no reason to go around all of this because it all looks like this. It all looks like this. There's a couple boxes and whatnot, a couple fragments, but other than seeing the Aurora up close, it's got nothing else going for it. It's kind of back right of the Aurora if I remember. Yeah, there, yeah, okay. So we keep kind of going straight from here. Okay, so this is somewhere apparently I have not been to. Hey, buddy. Now, look at the difference with fog, without fog. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. That gave me chills and I'm in creative mode. That guy is awesome. I will say, that guy is friggin' awesome. Apparently I didn't come here, but I thought I kind of went all the way over here as well. Axolotl! Sorry, there's an axolotl over there, chat.
4 months.
Is this it right here? Or it just keeps going down? Oh. It's like Dune's safety? Too bad you have to cross through like 3 Reapers to get here. Let's go ahead and turn off the fog. Let's see what this looks like. Never mind. That's insane. Just hanging out right here. I believe... Okay, so you know what's crazy, actually? I do believe I have been near this area. But I believe I went all the way over here and went around it. I missed what this is right here, but I went all the way around it. It's a really pretty spot, actually. I wouldn't expect that. Too bad there's a Reaper literally right there. We made the speed ×2, so everything swims fast. Well, that was fucking rude. I'm in the middle of a YouTube video, bud. Chill. Dude, that guy he had it out for me. Honestly. Sir, my blinker was on and everything. Sir, I need your insurance. You can't just swim away like that. Sir, I need your insurance. Fuck that guy. It's so weird seeing sub like this. Yeah, I mean, it lets you see kind of everything. However, this is what it's intended to look like. And honestly, pretty cool. I will say pretty cool. I don't think the Crash Zone Mesa really changes, or the plural really changes how I feel about the dunes. Or, sorry, about the Crash Zone. But it does look at least a little bit cooler, and it has a little bit more variety around it, plus a couple more resources hanging out. The point's still proven. You have to get through the Reapers. You're kind of just hanging out near the Reapers in their hood, expecting them not to do shit. So if you're playing this on a normal survival, being here is almost being worse than the rest of the Crash Zone because you're further away from safety. However, I do think it has a little bit more like ecosystem to offer and some resources. So I'll put it at the top. I'll put it at the top. Even though the danger aspect increases, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in Subnautica. We're not ranking it on how safe it is. We're ranking it on how much it really gives you that Subnautica feel of alien world, out to get you, survival game, you know, the whole thing. On to our next, we got the Cragfield, which I do believe I have seen. But let's go check it out in the game. We're right next to it, I believe. The Cragfield. I do believe I've seen, but when you see it like this, it obviously looks a lot cooler. But what's around here, specifically? Just some rocks? Some emptiness and rocks? The Cragfield has a Markiplier bobblehead inside a live pod. S tier. because we love Markiplier render. Kidding, 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 kidding. We won't let that sway us too much. We won't go too crazy. We love our Markiplier around here. This is how far it goes? It's a really cool look at... Emptiness, sharks, and near reapers, hell nah. Quartz, sandstone deposits are about all the materials you get from it. You can get to it from the grassy plateau. So I don't know if there's really any danger of having to go through the crash zone. But ultimately, the same thing still applies. What does it really have to offer? Let's let some stuff load in. Let's go to a random area and we'll let it all load in. Everything that this ecosystem could offer is just gone. Deep, dark, open oceanness? Sure, why not? But that's a lot of biomes in Subnautica, you know? This isn't special for that. You got your sea treaders over to the side, but I believe those are belonging to the Grand Reef. Oh, you got some ruby. Interesting. Some ruby stuff, but nothing that really makes it stand out. Ooh. 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 Yeah, is that what I think it is? Seeing lithium kind of bumps it up a little bit for me. Sir, we've gone over this before. This is like the 4th time you've hit me in the past, I don't even know how long. There's shell crops, there's all the kind of crops that you need. There are a lot of things around here trying to kill you though. There's quartz, there's a dead zone. There's quartz, there's a lot of resources, surprisingly. I actually don't mind how this place is and kind of how it looks. Like, the issue also though, other than the dead zone, is you don't get to really see all of this as we see it now. Let's see what it looks like intentionally. You get to see the spikes and whatnot, but altogether, it seems like this would be, at this point, F tier. At this point, it's fucking F tier. These guys, if another one comes at me in the next 5 seconds, it's F tier. Genuinely, what are we doing here? I got bit by 3 of them. Yeah, F tier, F tier. Fuck, literally delete this biome. Why do we even have this? Crackfield, F, Treader, C, Treader. They were over to the side, toss it down there. I don't even care about that place anymore. Okay, hold on. The Cragfield does have some good resources, but it would feel just like a chore to go get it. Like, sure, it's there if you really, really need it. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but look at those sharks coming after me. It's too close to the crash zone. Also, it's pretty deep. Seems more like something you would kind of go to a little bit later on, but the danger doesn't really make up for everything else. I don't think it's something that needs to be removed for the game, though. The F being like, hey, take it out of the game completely, maybe not that, because it does have some friggin' lithium, some rubies, some pretty good stuff that you might get in a pinch if you've got a scanner room somewhat nearby. I'll toss it D. It's probably a chore to be here. You probably don't want to be there, but it is a good last resort. That's about it. And then you've got the Markiplier bobblehead. Hey, I'll allow it. We're going to keep it at D. We're going to keep it at D. Otherwise, it would be F. If it wasn't for the cool things there, it would be F. Because what else is it doing? The floating island is next. Let's jump down in the water. Oh. I jumped too fast. Sorry, I got real anxious there. Sometimes I start playing this game and I think for a second I'm fine. And then I jump into the water and it gets real dark and I'm not. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Chat, the first time you saw this, what were your thoughts? There's obviously a lot of stuff down there. I'm going to turn this off for the sake of my mental health. But when you got here and you saw all of this stuff and then you saw that there was land, what were your thoughts? What the fuck? What the fuck in a good way or what the fuck in a bad way? Mine was obviously surprised. Mine was what the fuck in a good way. As in like, wait a minute, I get to walk on land? There's more than just the water here? Awesome. What the fuck is that was my thought. Exactly. I mean, I think we all kind of come here for one reason though, right? Or at least we can say we're glad we came here for one reason. The island itself is pretty cool, but I think it's just a big landmass that doesn't have much to offer other than a few specific things. Obviously, you got your alien teleporters here and whatnot. I'm not too worried about that right now. There's other trees and whatnot out here. Quite a few bases to go through and scavenge through. It's a little bit of a chore, I would say. It's a little bit of a chore, but I think it's because it's the first out of water chore that a lot of people experience. It doesn't feel like a chore. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? A little bit of a chore, but it's very good at making it feel as if you're not just kind of walking to grab a few things that you need. It's not a whole lot that you're doing. Then you get over here, and although you probably can't plant them right away, This right here might as well be gold. Might as well be damn gold. Shut up, crab. Also carries a ton of lore. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. I think this is also another kind of staple of Subnautica. Maybe not the first thing you think of, but it is a big part when it comes to lore, kind of understanding the people that came before you, the bases, how the world around us acts, and then all the ways to kind of utilize, well, this beautiful big fruit right here. 10 out of 10 fruit, by the way. One of the best resources in the game. Once you get this in your base, life is good. Life is good. Remember that whole thing about safety? Other than these fucks, for the most part, it's pretty safe. In a place that has a bunch of resources, a bunch of lore, a bunch of these, it can't be a bad place, right? I actually really love the island. I think seeing the islands for the first time, especially because they're hidden by the clouds and all that stuff, seeing the islands for the first time, everybody is surprised. Everybody's shocked. This is a world where I'm supposed to be just in water the whole time, and then all of a sudden you toss an island my way. You give me some backstories to some people who try to survive here who obviously failed. It's a big part of Subnautica's storyline, which I very much do love so much, and also a ton of resources for not much to worry about other than the trip here. The trip here was the hardest part for me, and getting close to the island was probably the most anxious like I've felt towards the beginning of this game, but it was worth it. It was well worth the trip. Despite it being a chore, I think it was well worth every second of getting to this island and scavenging through all that it has to offer, even up there at the tippy top. I think honestly the floating island's an A. The crab shooters die pretty easily, at least. Yeah, the enemies the enemies there are just kind of annoying. They're not really meant to do anything other than bug you a little bit here and there. Just some weird crabs and whatnot. They die pretty quick. If I have to be honest, not to sound like a psychopath, I actually really like killing those things and taking my anger out on them. I'm on an alien planet by myself, and you want to fuck with me? You want to fuck with me? Not today. Not today. I'm killing you and all your homies. Your whole neighborhood going down. Fuck those crabs. Floating island. I think because of the lore and resources, I think I'm going to put this above the kelp forest. The floating island is just mind-blowing to see. Really is. And again, with the lore drops and all the stories of people trying to survive, the other things that you get for the base, all the resources that it has to offer, I do think it's an A. I think it's a pretty important part of the story. I don't think it's the most perfect island ever. It's really, there's not a whole lot to it, if I do have to be honest. Not a whole lot to the island. A lot of it is walking simulator, but it really gives you a pretty good view. A pretty freaking good view. The eclipses, the sky in this game is beautiful, especially below zero. Beautiful. I think my favorite part about the island, honestly, despite all the things that I've already mentioned, being good for just kind of progressing the stories and progressing like your resource management and all that stuff, I think I love the view. There is something about being in the water, looking out every direction and seeing nothing. It is very terrifying. It is very scary. It instills anxiety in so many people, and that's just the honest truth. A lot of us, you first jump into the Subnautica waters and you get into a big wide area, you're scared. But there's another thing about getting onto an island, looking every single direction, and also seeing nothing still. Because up top, you would assume there would be hope. You would assume there would be some bit of comfort to grasp onto. And although the island itself has a lot to offer, when you look out and you see jack shit squat, nothing, I think it helps solidify that lonely feeling that Subnautica gives you. I really do think this island is very good at giving you a great view at all the nothing that there is. I love this island. I really do. Definitely an A tier for me. Not the perfect island. I think maybe a couple more things added to it and whatever else. Although it's very beautiful, I think a couple more things added to it would have made it a little bit better. Maybe not be as walking simulator, but you know, that's nitpicky with the island. The island part wasn't super something that you would focus on. Like it's like the game. You're not focusing on the gameplay going into the island and like hoping for mini games and whatnot. It does its job and it does its job well. It's not set to be some crazy extravagant adventure of like rock climbing and whatnot. But you know, I'd honestly put it at bottom Emperor. You would put it just below the Jelly Shroom Cave. How many of you actually agree with the Jelly Shroom Cave S? Just curious. I don't agree. I don't like that biome. High Dragon, maybe? I could see it High Dragon as well. Next one up is the Mushroom Forest. Now, what we were talking about earlier with the grassy plateaus being split apart, kind of being the biomes that show you that different areas can be the same biome, but stretched across the land that you see, or I guess the underwater areas that you see. The Mushroom Forest has the east, and it does have the west. So let's check it on out. Let's see where they're at. I'm biased. I got my first cuttlefish here. I mean, are you really biased? I can't see many people honestly hating the Mushroom Forest, especially when you get to see this big thing and understand that you kind of get to go, inside of it. It's pretty cool for the most part. Tons of resources. This is also where you get ore deposits. This is where you see these little guys. I love these guys so much. One of the coolest creatures on this planet, bar none. Look at it. Look how stunning that is. Set it to day real quick. As far as I'm aware, there are a few dangerous mobs. I know you get to see your little shock buddies, a little electric shock never hurt nobody. But then you get to do this cool stuff. Like, what? What a fun place to be. I think of the Mushroom Forest kind of like a playground in a way. There is so much fun, for me at least, going through this area in a prawn suit and trying to land on certain things, going inside the tree when I want to just swim around and have fun. There's quite a few resources. Again, you've got salt, you've got all the different ore deposits that are everywhere around here. You've got some pretty pivotal stuff to the story. Bunch of creature eggs, bunch of really cool creatures in general. I do love this place. I do actually really like the Mushroom Forest. On top of that, it is probably one of the faster ways that you can get to the alien base down below. It is it's definitely something, and it's definitely a forest. And for the most part, I would say at least the west is pretty safe until you start venturing a little bit further out, but you've got an awesome tree out there. A lot of you are saying A. I would probably put this towards either high B or bottom of A. I think it does have a lot of stuff that it offers. I think the tree is kind of what saves it for like the beauty part of it. Hey buddy, you're in the wrong biome, buddy. I do think it has like a little bit of fun to the game. I think it's like this is the whimsy part of the game. For me, at least, anywhere where you see a mushroom forest, whether that's Minecraft or Subnautica, it's going to add some whimsy to the game, you know? So I think for me, based off the resources, based off like the cool layout, the little bit of mini game that I have for myself, this big freaking tree that, where the hell did it go? Apparently not big enough if I lost it. I think it would put it low A for me, if I have to be honest. Maybe as we see more stuff. Actually, no, I'm coming across the big tree again. This is going to be low A for now, for sure. It's going to be low A for now. It's a very cool biome, very distinct and unique from the rest. You've got the mushroom cave, obviously, but that glows in a different way. That in and of itself is kind of secluded from the rest. This is just kind of a stumble across area, you know? But I do think also having the connection to the alien base does help it out a bit. There's quite a few things here. Beauty, maybe not the craziest, but still really cool and whimsical, if that makes sense. I would put both of them, honestly. I'd put them under I'd put them under the kelp forest. I really love the kelp forest. I actually really do. Let me think about this. Mushroom Forest East, though, is a lot more danger. And you can actually bring the Reaper over there as well. I think Mushroom Forest East is a lot more Subnautica feel. There is a cuttlefish to find at the mushroom. There is the cuttlefish. I think this is a very safe biome in regards to people liking it. To see this, I think once you see this, you're like, oh, cool. Like, you know, mushroom forest. That's awesome, you know? But you're not like mind blown wowed by it. I just think it is a very good biome for what it tries to do, which is just, hey, add some variety to what we're doing here. So I've not met anyone that hates it. I haven't met anyone that hates it either. I think it's a pretty good biome, but I don't think anybody else over here thinking best biome in Subnautica by any means. I would keep it below the kelp forest. Again, the kelp forest to me was kind of like that first dive into danger, first dive into what Subnautica was. I think by the time you get to Mushroom Forest, you've already experienced that, you know? The creatures you can see here, the resources, everything else, like all good, but nothing extraordinary. So I'm going to keep it low A. I'll keep it below these ones. It's not quite high B. But it is definitely low A. It is not the perfect biome, but it is a good biome to be in. If you find yourself in the Mushroom Forest, Probably there for a good reason. So I'll keep it just below kelp. I do love the whimsy, and I do love the little mini game here, and of course, like I said, resources as well. But by this point, it's not something that's going to surprise you. So we'll keep it there. We'll keep it there. Next, we've got the underwater islands. Underwater islands is near the mountains, is it not? I mean, once you've seen it once, again, I think it's one of those areas that if it was closer to where, like, the safe shallows is or the start of the game would be, you'd be a little bit more surprised about it. But being here, well, you just kind of pass through. For me, at least, when I ended up here, by coming through the mountains. Kind of was on accident. There's nothing a whole lot that is really standing out as like unique and special. I just think it's kind of a pass by moment. For me, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It's middle of the road for me. I think there's a couple good things you can be here. I remember this wreck having some stuff. As you can tell, we've got some fragments that are decent, but you've also got a lot of danger. These guys still being assholes, and I could see, would I have 6 on my screen right now? 7 on my screen right now? Actually insane that many can show up. Nothing really to remember about like any of this stuff, because like, again, by the time you've gotten here, you've probably seen quite a few more things that have already blown your mind. Floating islands for me, I actually am going to put them as a C. I think I'm going to toss them into a C. Floating underwater islands, I think it's the placement of them that throws me off. Again, imagine putting the underwater islands right outside the safe shallows. The second you go swimming away from where the safe areas are and you see something like that, it's gonna blow your mind. It really is gonna blow your mind. But here, it's just there. It's just there. It exists. Sure, why not? Why not? Next we got, wow, the mountains. Now, for those of you who have not seen my Subnautica playthrough, I did one episode by myself offline. In that episode, it was just me in a prawn suit on a journey. And, well, to put it simply, it was the one time I went to the mountains. And after that, I never played Subnautica off stream again. The mountains is horrifying. The mountains is a nightmare like never before seen. I had only ever heard stories about the dunes. And to me, the mountains were just kind of like, well, time to go explore. I lost my prawn suit. I almost lost my sea moth. I'm surprised I did not die. Extremely lucky to have been to the mountains at night and survive. There are quite a few resources there. There are quite a few things, but there's also so much more. Now, I think of the mountains, honestly. Hold on, let's go. Let's not even talk about it real quick. Let's just go. Let's just go. F for fuck no. Oh my! This is the mountains. I couldn't even press my escape to pause. The mountains to me, well, that encapsulates everything. That is everything you ever need to know about the mountains. I'm going to be honest here. The mountains to me are S tier. The mountains to me are S tier. Now, there's a problem with this, right? There's a problem, and they're above the jelly shrimp cave. There's a problem with this because based off of stuff we've talked about, mountains is somewhere you don't need to go. You actually do not need to go to the mountains really much at all. The stuff that you need from the mountains can be grabbed from other places, or you can get grabbed from just on the outskirts. I genuinely think this is one of the best biomes in Subnautica. And let me tell you why. Not only is it this guy, but I think... Can I think for a little bit? We're going to swim away from this guy. We'll swim away from this guy. We voted F. All of you guys voted F. You guys genuinely hate the mountains. Can I ask why? Before I give you my reasoning, can I ask why you guys hate the mountains? Is it F because you're scared of it, though? This is not a tier list of what am I not scared of, what biomes am I not scared of, or what biomes do I feel safe in? Scared and there ain't shit there. There's actually quite a few good things here. Is it worth coming here? For the fear. I think Subnautica, again, I think Subnautica is about a few things here. One is experiencing an alien land. You get to really see all that it has to offer, all the dangerous creatures that are literally everywhere, and kind of make use of all the resources around you. The mountains are an insanely unique biome in the fact that it is the biggest drops, ups and downs, with just reapers everywhere. The layout of the mountains to me feels the most genuine to its name. It feels very chaotic. It feels like, again, there is no reason to be here. It is no reason to be here. But it is a fun biome to really experience the fear of Subnautica. It is resource heavy. It does have a lot of resources. You probably have to come here with the prawn suit to kind of take advantage of most of that. It does have a few crash sites. Again, these crash sites, you can get other stuff from other places. But you don't have to really go here. You don't. I think if I had to separate these things, right? If we had to talk about fear factor, resources, the ecosystem, the beauty and all that stuff, I think the rest would all be around B. But I think the fear factor for the mountains and the resources are actually so good, or it's like the layout itself are so good that it kind of pulls it up to S for me. If I told you this player has never seen anything about Subnautica before, spawn them somewhere in this game. If you can get their heart rate above 120, where are you putting them? My thought is not the dunes, honestly. It's too open. Although there's a lot of reapers out there, the mountains hides them very well. The mountains is almost like being hunted by a panther. This is a reaper's playground to come and kill you. It is horrifying being here. Even though you get a little bit of light here and there from your bulbs and your electric eels and all that stuff, you don't really get that comfort anywhere in this area. This place goes deep. This place goes deep. I don't know if you guys have seen how the mountains kind of operate. Fog. All the ups and downs. This is again, the reason I like this place is specifically because this is a Reaper playground. And as I mentioned before, the crash zone is Reaper City. There's so many Reapers everywhere, but the biome that they put them in is not interesting. There's not a whole lot to offer there. It's just kind of whatever. Nobody cares about that place other than the Reapers, right? But when you get to the mountains, you see Warpers, you see Reapers, you see resources that are pretty manageable, honestly. There's a few crash sites, nothing too crazy crash site-wise that you can't get from other places, but that's not what we're talking about here. If the crash zone to me would have been like a D tier, if not for the Reaper, this would be a B tier for me. Probably low A. I would say actually it was probably B tier for me, if not for all the Reapers. So how the crash zone got brought up from its rankings specifically because of the fear of the Reaper and how iconic that is, this goes from a B tier to an S tier for me. Because not only do you get the full Subnautica experience of getting jump scared by so many of these motherfuckers, but you get just a cool layout in general. It keeps things interesting. There's not many places in this game that really have you feeling like there's nowhere to hide besides the mountains. I think the dunes is a little bit talked about too much when it comes to the fear factor, specifically because of the voice line that you get entering the dunes. I think the dunes line should be swapped to the mountains. That's how scary this place is to me. How fast these things move, how they disappear, how they use this area to have some fun and murder some unsuspecting folks, along with the resources and whatever else. It is an S tier for me. The Reapers are just that top notch. I love the Reapers and their design, and the mountains are where they thrive. As of right now, I am putting the mountains Sea Emperor level. I love that biome. I really do. Even as somebody terrified of the ocean, the mountains had me hooked. I think it's an awful place to be in the moment, but looking back, it is the number one place that I think of. We've got Mountain Island now. You guys know it, maybe the Big Gun Island. You guys know it as Alien Base Island, whatever the heck it is. Let's go check it out. You know what's crazy? I still think about to this day how sad I am that I miss this thing shooting down our dearly beloved saviors. Gun Island, Mountain Island, whatever the heck gets the idea going. The rifle's so majestic and so iconic. It really is. It really is. It, to this day, haunts me that I missed this. The sunbeam got beamed with the power of the sun. Exactly. I love watching new players get to this island and see the sunbeam go down, because holy shit, do I have to live through them to really experience that. Yeah, I didn't make it to the timer. I did not get to see the sunbeam explode in my own playthrough. I had to go to a YouTube video and watch it later on. But wow, Wow, I think we kind of all know where this is going. We might be a little bit too trigger happy with this ranking right now, but ultimately, this is where you see the sunbeam go down. This is where you realize you are alone. There is nothing you can do here besides try to survive. There is, in fact, motherfucking aliens here. There is great resources. There was another island. There is so much cool shit around the island. On top of that, all the technology that you see in there. You get the portal gate openings. You get the tablets that let you go inside alien bases. Everything unlocks here. This is the big jump. While Jelly Shroom Cave to me is the biome that kind of is the Kickstarter for when you're exploring how things can really get and how bad things can really be, the Mountain Island is the Kickstarter for so much more, if I'm being honest with you. Everybody's voting yes. I put this above the mountains. Again, the iconic gun shooting down the sunbeam on top of everything else the island has to offer. It's really hard to beat something like that. It's S. It have Reaper around the island, alien technology, diamond fact. Exactly. It's not a one-stop shop by any means. It is a perfect addition to the story, to your resources, to everything you could ever need. And it's not somewhere you just come one time. You've got your portals that you're here. You've got even the moon pool is a great addition. Having to go out of that moon pool towards the mountains, for me, it took a little bit of hyping up for me. I genuinely did not want to do it, but honestly, it is a fantastic part of Subnautica. A true S tier through and through. I don't know how many people actually ever really go here. I feel like the issue with this placement, maybe not the issue, maybe issue is a strong word, because this is a really cool biome. Issue, for lack of a better word, with this area is the placement between the crash zone and the mountains. Most of the time, the biomes that you'd want to put yourself around or whatever else have abundance of all these crazy different things. Again, the mountains is not S tier for me because you want to be there. It's because you don't want to be there. And that to me is a great biome because of the fear that it instills. Not because it's an annoying biome to deal with or because of whatever the heck else. The crash zone is just got nothing there. You don't really want to be there because you want to stay away from the Reapers. There's just two biomes right next to you in the bulb zone. The area itself is gorgeous. I love the design of the bulb zone. These electric eels are so cool looking. Also near Lost River entrance, but other than that, it's not worth going there, not gonna lie. Yeah, this is an area where they just kind of toss all this here. Because between the mountains and the crash zone, they didn't want it to be too much area where there's just danger abundant. And there's these fuckers as well. There's not a whole lot here. You've got your typical resources for an area that's considered like late game. You are pretty deep down. How deep are we right now? We're 347 meters down. Not exactly shallow to be trying to come over here, but it is a very pretty site. If you want to build your base here, I do understand you. But if you want to get a lot of resources, continue on with the story, have places that are nearby, maybe not quite the place. The way that I would describe this place is kind of having like a really pretty house out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of people would like that, but there are some issues that kind of come with that, right? One is, where am I going to get all my stuff? My food and whatever the heck else? Like, yeah, there's peepers going around, but you've also got all this. This would be the equivalent of kind of being in a forest, only being able to eat rabbits, and you've got wolves that are also living nearby as your neighbors. You know what I mean? They're also hunting those rabbits. They're also hunting a lot of those things. I think it's a cool biome, but I don't think there's really reason to come here. It's got a few access points for other cool biomes. It's got a few cool creatures itself. It's beautiful. It really is. I think it is absolutely beautiful, but it doesn't offer much else. Yeah, the more we talk about this, the more I think of like the grassy plateaus being more towards A, because it really is like the perfect tool, I would say, to kind of keep you going. It's also, pretty safe, as I mentioned. Although I don't really care for how it looks all that much, it's still a good area. It's still a pretty good area. But as for now, we'll put the bulb zone in the top of B. I think if you want to live there, it's a cool reason to live there. Because, hey, style is half the battle when it comes to a game like Subnautica, when you can create your own base. And if you've got style like Bulb Zone, you're doing something right. The only other issue is you're kind of super far from the grocery store. So, C tier. I think it could be a C tier. Actually, I kind of forgot about the C tier. I think you're saying C tier. I think it's also C tier. Now that I'm thinking about it. I think I'm rethinking all of this. Because it's way too close to Grassy Plateau. I don't think it doesn't have the Reapers to be iconic. I agree. Actually, I agree with you guys. I'm completely rethinking this. You guys are so right. You guys are actually so right. Based off of what I just said, it is only decently good for one thing. It's not the prettiest biome. I think it is a really pretty biome, but it's not the prettiest by any means. But it is just kind of a forgotten biome. I don't think a lot of people even know this place exists, huh? Yeah, I'm definitely going to drop it to C. Is it under the underwater islands is the question. I would say underwater islands is just below. I think the bulb zones are a little more unique and cool. While there are a lot of islands out there that are kind of floating, I think. No, there's too many areas that are like the bulb zone itself. I'm actually okay with it. I'm very okay with that. It's definitely below the Crash Zone. The Crash Zone is much more iconic, obviously for Reaper and Aurora reasons, and the bulb zone doesn't really have anything like that. You guys are right. It's definitely a C. It has an entrance to the Lost River though, but I think it's also probably one of the further entrances you can find. So even the good thing that it does have is not really the best of what there is to offer. Just like the real world, not everywhere is meant to be this extravagant, crazy place that you can't take your eyes off of. Sometimes places just need to be places to let the other places shine even much more. The dunes. I'm probably going to get some hate for this one. We've talked about the Reapers quite a bit. The dunes for me are just a bit of a big disappointment, if I'm being honest with you. Bit of a big disappointment. The dunes are talked up quite a bit. You got Cuttlefish Egg there. You've got the iconic Reaper, but it's just kind of boring. I think the difference between the dunes and the mountains is the layout, as I mentioned before, for the mountains helps out the Reapers a lot. It lets them be more iconic. The dunes, just like the mountains, doesn't really have any reasons to go. It's just kind of there. I even in my playthrough, when we went, I kind of just went through. I had a couple jump scares maybe, but it was nothing like the mountains by any means. If I had to place this somewhere, I think it's just kind of boring. I think the dunes is just there. D for me, I'm going to put it bottom of C. I think the dunes is there if you want it to be there. I think if you go, you have the chance at the Reaper scare, but it is so open, it doesn't really do much. I don't think it's necessarily below the bulb zone or the underwater islands by any means. I think the dunes, the crater specifically, has some merit to going there for obvious reasons. It does have the suit for lava zone. Everything you can get in the dunes, you can get in other biomes and wrecks. There was pretty much no reason to go to the dunes other than the fear factor, but even then the fear factor isn't done all too much. The part of the dunes that is talked about most is a line from PD Ada. I think what the dunes tries to do is be the scariest biome, and I think it fails at that. I think the mountains is like the hidden gem of terror when it comes to that kind of side of biome, but the dunes, it doesn't give you the resources that really justify going there other than one little cuttlefish, which is in the crater, so I'll put it towards the top than the rest. It is just a biome that is there. It's not necessarily a bad biome, if that makes sense. Dunes is a fast one. Some people might not agree with that. I'm surprised you guys all do. I think you guys mostly voted D and C. But hey, the dunes are the dunes. Let it be what it is. Sparse Reef. Okay, we are on the far side of the map as far as I'm aware, right? I don't really remember much about this place. I'm being honest with you. And usually when that's the case, it kind of gives off the vibe that it's just there. The resources, maybe it has to, in all fairness, to play devil's advocate, it has been a while since I played my playthrough. I've seen other people play, but not everybody really comes around here. It seems kind of like it's just here, but it doesn't seem, even just looking at this as now, it doesn't seem like there's not a reason to go here. This might be another one of those tools, and for the most part, it seems pretty safe. It's put on the day, put on fog. For the most part, it seems pretty safe so far. You've got a reef back right there. You've got a couple, oh, I do remember this place. I think, okay, so my bias is gel sacks, ruby fragments, calm. Yeah, my bias is when I got here, it was pretty late in my playthrough. Yeah, when I got over here, it was pretty late in my playthrough, so most of these things are really not what I needed. So actually, this is where I'm going to rely on you guys. What is in the sparse reefs that is worth being here? It looks decent in some areas. It really does look decent in some areas. You got gel sacks, pretty good. Gel sacks, pretty good. Rubies, pretty good. Quartz, I mean, quartz of quartz. Lots of rubies, actually. Lots of rubies. Oh, okay, this is, I have a better understanding. Yeah, lots of rubies here. Lots of gel sacks. This is your gel sack ruby location. Little wreckage. NBD. Doesn't seem like a bad location, by any means. Good resources, no risk. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a bad because these are like the late game stuff that you'd kind of want. Or later game stuff. Not exactly late, but later game stuff that you'd want. It does seem like no risk. And like we talked about, just how we talked about how the danger aspect of Subnautica is a really big deal, the safety aspect of Subnautica is also a really big deal. So if you can go somewhere and get everything given to you, and then still feel safe while doing it, I think that's a pretty good tool. However, if you're having to compare it to the other tools on the list, the Grassy Plateau is high B because it is such a good tool, even though it's not really a special biome in itself. It is such a good tool that it's like you're pretty much compelled to go there in every playthrough, right? It has everything that you need to let the rest of Subnautica, to let all the S's and A's really do their thing. So if you're talking about Sparse Reef being a good tool, I would say, honestly, I would put it low B. Either low B or C, because I didn't really come here at all for the resources, but I might have felt safer doing so. It might have been smarter for me to do so. This would be the equivalent of going to the dunes for the stuff that you can get in the bulb zone. Like, you're going to the more dangerous area, you are getting your thing, it can be done quicker, but you probably didn't need to do that. Everything in the Sparse Reef, I probably could have gotten safer, but I usually went to the Grand Reef for that as well. Pole says B. I think I would put it low B. It would definitely be, depending on what else we can put towards B, it could be C. It is, for me personally, in my playthrough, it was a biome that was just there. But I see the value in it early game, considering what it gives you and the fact that it's really not that deep. So I will be willing to put it B. I'd be willing to see the value in it, even though I didn't get it in my playthrough. Didn't this last pod give you the ultra high capacity data box? I don't believe so, did it? That's pretty important. If it did, I don't remember it, which is why I'm saying, like, it's definitely would be, if it did, I don't remember, it'd definitely be like a low B tier for me because it's just kind of there. You know, ultra high is nice. Ultra high is very nice. But that's what puts it at B. If that is the case, well, let's put it this way. If that is the case, which I believe you to be right, I'm not saying you're wrong by any means, that would solidify its place in B over C. If it truly is the tool that we're saying it is, then I would say B is where it belongs. Below the crash zone, because it is kind of a forgotten area, but I'll leave it bottom of B. Leave it bottom of B for sure. It is probably one of those hidden gems, and it's Last Pod 19, which is here. Okay, valid. We leave it at B then. We keep it out of C specifically for its value in a playthrough. Next, we got the Sea Treader's Path, the Grand Reef Smokers, Deep Grand Reef. We've got the Grand Reef, Sea Treader's Path, Grand Reef Smokers, Deep Grand Reef. We're actually right next to Grand Reef as far as I'm aware, right? Scans now show extensive cave networks below the surface in this area, accompanied by unusual energy signatures. This is another wow moment for me, honestly. I don't think it's the most wow moment by any means, but the Grand Reef is kind of nutty, isn't it? We're in the Deep Grand right now. Let's go up a little bit. Here's our ghosty boy. Hey, bud. I'm not scared of you. I'm in creative mode, idiot. Is this where, I would imagine this is where most people see their first ghost Leviathan in the wild. I saw mine in the ecological dead zone, which is a whole nother topic. But this thing swimming around here, it does glow quite a bit. First crab squids here. I think the thing with Subnautica biomes, the reason that a lot of them will fall into the B tier for me is because they are specifically made to do one job and one job only, because that's part of the progression of the game, right? You can't have one biome give everything all too much all the time, especially resource-wise. I think the Grand Reef is just kind of a resource area, but also just a bypassing area. It is a very wow moment when you see like how beautiful it can really get. But for the most part, I think the people think about the Ghost Leviathan here more often than not, and they think about the resources as well. When you get deeper is when it really starts changing, because you get these guys right here. What is up, my dude? How are you doing? Welcome to my world. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. That's payback, bitch, for all the times you ever fucked me over. Yeah, you remember when you destroyed my sea moth? Idiot! Stupid! Now this is... Now this is an ecosystem. It's a very big ecosystem. The Grand Reef is in fact grand. It lives up to its name. And it is extensive and long, as the PDA suggests. There are caves everywhere. There's a lot of exploring to do here. But I think a lot of it is actually just kind of open and barren. You know, there are good resources for sure. But this seems expanded for the sake of fitting the name rather than expanded and filled with things that are, you know, truly worth the area. This is your first big introduction into the Ghost Leviathan most of the time, because you'll usually see this where you get to the Lost River. You see the crab squids. You see your other friends that are over here that are, you know, just before getting down into like the nitty gritty of the rest of the story. It's a very peaceful area. It's a very peaceful area. The atmosphere is very important for a game like Subnautica. Absolutely. Atmosphere for an ocean game, I would say, is everything. I think it is the epitome of what a B tier system is, though. The Grand Reef has the cave systems. It has the Ghost Leviathan, has the sea treaders, you know? And it has good resources. I think it is the epitome of what it means to be a B tier biome. It is not quite A. It has some specialties to it that make it the perfect biome for showing you the expansive parts of what an area can really be. Grand Reef is A/B. It's a nice place to explore. I think it's peaceful. I think this is the beauty side of the ocean, right? There is a little bit of danger. There is a lot of beauty. But the best part about the Grand Reef is there is actually a lot of it. You know what I mean? There isn't just open space and a floor and you call it a biome. They actually attempted to fill this biome to make it feel like when you're here, you are in an ecosystem meant to be more than just open ocean. And I think that's cool. I'm super down with that. I do really like the sea treaders. I'm going to put them actually towards the top. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Speaking of the Grand Reef. Put them up. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I also love Subnautica as well. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Sir, please fuck. So the next time you think about asking a squid, a little crab squid, what they're going to do about it, they're going to blow up your sea moth. Remember to turn off those lights. We got blood kelp north, blood kelp south. Pull them on up. Let's go check them out. So this is like... This is kind of like the stuff of nightmares, you know? Blood kelp is just a nightmare for people who are scared of the ocean. Blood kelp is bad for me personally. It's nice, but whatever. It really did scare the shit out of me when I first got here. Look at the water. Look at this. You gotta be a sociopath to think this place isn't scary. However, fire music. Everybody shut up. We're gonna do an OST ranking for this one. Hole is clenched. This is terrifying. But it doesn't deliver on the fear other than specifically the ocean fear. Whereas the mountains absolutely deliver. I think this ends up becoming more of a peaceful moment than anything else. So let's do one thing. Do this and do this. Really cool area. Actually a really cool area, you know? It's got a couple things to offer, but what else? You know, what are we really getting out of this, you know? We've got blood kelp, sure. How much of that do we really need? Once you get the blood kelp here once, what do, chat? You go back to your base, you plant that shit, call it a day. That boy getting it. Ooh. I think it does have a bit of initial fear. But after a while, you're just kind of done with it. I believe that goes for the north and the south. I don't think it's necessarily ugly by any means. I actually think it's really cool looking. But it doesn't deliver on what I think it was trying to do, which is scare you. And after a while, after the first time being through here, you're just, it is what it is. This is, to me, C tier fear. I think it's just an area that's there. Both blood kelps. Their ghost is here, actually. Oh, this is the other entrance into the Lost River, is it not? Or am I missing something here? This is pretty serene. Not quite as dark as the other one, though. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies. Is there much else besides the blood kelp? There's our ghosty boy. Yeah, you've got floating islands, you've got stuff connecting over. This is beautiful. See, like the same thing? Oh, Ghost is here, I guess. I think it's a little more expansive, but it does seem still empty. You've got a life pod here. You got crab squid, and this is your other entrance. And this is your other entrance, right? I think the Ghost actually knocks it up a bit, but I don't know if it can really escape sea. Yeah, I would say bottom sea, honestly. Mid sea. It's better than the floating islands. Let's do this real quick. We'll do one thing real quick. We'll go over here. Blood kelp south. I think I would put it below bulb zone. I'll put it below. The bulb zone I think has cooler creatures around it. The crab squids are cool and whatnot. The blood kelp north. Would I put it above the dunes though? Maybe the dunes goes to B? No, the dunes actually, I just genuinely can't see the dunes escaping C. I think the dunes fails at what it's trying to do. I can't put it up at B and let it escape the C. I would say the blood kelp north is just below the dunes. I think they both accomplish the same thing. They try to set up this area where even though there is an iconic creature, maybe the Ghost isn't as iconic as the Reaper, there's just an area that is, for lack of a better way of explaining it, misused, you know? You're trying to set up this creepy, scary place where you can get killed by this big bad monster, and not really. You're just not really worried about it. It's super easy to avoid. Very open area for the most part. It's a little more of an actual ecosystem. The south one is definitely it just exists for sure. Definitely bottom of sea, but this one at least attempts to be more full. Does it quite get there? Yeah, but it is still just here. It is still just here. You've got a good entrance, but it's definitely not above the dunes. So, hi, Mr. Ghosty. Thank you for being okay with top of sea. I do appreciate you. I think even being C of Subnautica is not a bad thing. I don't necessarily think that anything on this list is really bad until it goes to F. So we'll see when we get there. The rest of it, at the very least, you can find one little bit glimpse of hope for somebody liking it out there. The rest of the stuff, though, the cave systems and all that stuff, I think it's an attempt. I think it's a good attempt. I think it's definitely a good attempt, but it is something that falls short, in my opinion. We go to the next one. The Lost River. I absolutely love everything about the Lost River. There are so many parts to it, as you can see. I completely cannot and will not put this below pretty much anything. I don't think I can see this below anything else in the game. The first time I stumbled into the Lost River absolutely blew my mind. And like we mentioned with the Gun Island, it just blows the game wide open for ways you never even considered before. This is now no longer you just trying to survive and seeing what else is out there. This is some stuff that is blowing your mind back to back to back to back. I know we have a lot of stuff left on this list, but this is by far, to me, the most memorable moment. When I went to the Grand Reef, I didn't even see the actual habitat there that you're supposed to go get a bunch of important stuff for. I just stumbled into the Lost River on accident. I just stumbled into the Lost River on complete accident. And boom. Just boom. Blew my mind. And then it just kept going. This is the positive equivalent of like watching a car wreck happen and a bunch of cars keep joining the pileup. This is a 13 car pileup. If you're in a Transformers movie, then boom, this is everything you've ever wanted. It is the craziest explosions ever. It is awesome. It is awe. And then you get to end it all with the Lost River Cove tree. My absolute favorite part of Subnautica was stumbling into this shit right here. I kind of want to go above S tier for just that one. Why? They just put shiny tree in front of you, Kritur. It's not that deep. There's so much there. There's so much there. Everything you could ever want. Alien technology, giant skeletons, lore, cool trees, cool gas stuff, cool ways to go through that. A ghost leviathan. This is Subnautica. This is Subnautica. It changes your entire biome multiple times. And again, I think I lucked out stumbling into it. I'm so glad this is one of those things I was not spoiled on at all. But turning every corner in that cave was an adventure. That was probably my favorite stream. It's somewhere you're constantly going back to. Dude, holy hell. Holy hell do I love the Lost River. When you're talking about the canyon, when you're talking about the skeletons, the forest in and of itself, and then all the cool creatures that are around there as well. Give me more. Take what the Lost River is, put it into a little serum, and inject it straight to my bloodstream. I need it. When I found the Lost River, and the Lost River was no longer the Lost River, and it was a found river, it was, boom, immediately to the top. There wasn't even a need for the rest of this stuff to happen for me to enjoy it that much. The oozing gas out of the waterfalls of the sides, the color change, the cool creatures that are there, your big skeletons, your cool tree. I don't need to say it. I know I love talking about this, but I don't need to say it. It is the best biome in all of Subnautica. The first time you see the cove tree, it is such a change in the pacing. Because think about where the cove tree is, what the rest of the Lost River looks like, and then what's past the cove tree. It is whiplash. In the best way possible, it is a whiplash. It's like, hey, by the way, there's also this. And then there's also this. Oh, and then look where you're going. Thank you. Thank you for all the resources. Thank you for whoever thought of this idea. Thank you for the excitement that I got to feel seeing the Lost River. This was the moment I realized Subnautica was going to be one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely was. I'm glad I got to experience these moments with you guys, especially the Lost River stuff, because wow. As we mentioned, the Lost River leads up to one specific thing. That's your lava zone corridor. And ultimately, there are two things here. In this lava zone that are the big changes of how the game is operating. And I guess we can make it three. The lava in and of itself, the biome in and of itself, is dangerous, but it's empty. You have the sea dragon, and you have alien technology. You have some warpers. Nothing crazy that you haven't seen before. The sea dragon is the one big thing that is like the wow factor, right? The wow factor besides the alien base. The alien base is still a big wow factor as well. But the sea dragon, even for being such a late game thing, is not as iconic as the Reaper. You know what I mean? The second you get into the lava zone, it's pretty whatever. And then you get to see the sea dragon, and all of a sudden, I think the sea dragon by itself, the lava castle outside, lava castle inside, I think the sea dragon by itself is enough to warrant that little area towards its B. Or sorry, I think that most of what the lava zone has to offer it's kind of just an obstacle in the way. I would put it above the dunes. I think it's definitely a more memorable moment. It's something you have to go to. And the first time you see it, it does blow your mind. But I don't think there's really a whole lot there. If it's not a sea dragon, the lava zone is kind of boring. I think if the lava zone does not have a sea dragon in it, it's forgettable so easily. And it's just kind of there. It's open space to get lost in. A bit of a time sink, if I do say so myself. I think the reason they make it so big is because it is towards the end of the game, and they want you to kind of maneuver through this. Take your time a little bit, whatever else like that. I would actually put it, specifically because I'm going to put it above the grassy plateaus. I think it's a lot more memorable. I think being a tool to experience the game is not as good as actually experiencing the game. The lava zone has some pretty high highs, and some pretty low lows. So the sea dragon, if it actually gave a fuck about you, would be better in my opinion. But it usually just roams around, and it's got the slowest turn radius ever. It's not as iconic, but it is still a memorable thing. Something to scream at, but for the most part, I think the rest of the space falls short. You got about 10%. Maybe we'll say you get about 20% of the lava zone, which is very enticing. It pulls you in. It makes you really immersed into what's happening. And the rest is just, you never got to go there again. How many of you, after you got your lithium, you saw the sea dragon up top, and you went into the alien base, how many of you went back into the lava zone? Because I never touched it again. I used that alien base, and I teleported back and forth, and I never touched the rest of the lava zone again. There was no need to. I had all the kyanite I needed. I'd seen a sea dragon. It's a one and done. But it is pretty memorable. Just never again, pretty much. I would say that's probably what it is. I think in the lava lakes, you are concerned about the sea dragon, but the warpers are the ones you actually should be worrying about. As much as the sea dragon is the big spectacle, it's the big firework in the sky, the sea dragon is a mugger. Oh, sorry. The warper is a mugger right next to you as you're watching that firework, trying to steal your wallet. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one you got to really be concerned about. Like, really big firework. Oh, wow, it's crazy. And then this guy's got a knife at your throat. So it's like, We got bigger priorities here. He's not need to close aggro with the already attack. Yeah, but it's only depending on which way he's facing as well. So the second you're behind him, you're safe. You know, he's not going to flip around because of the turn radius like a Reaper would. I don't ever think I got behind a Reaper and thought, wow, now I'm good. You know, now I'm safe. It is what it is, though. Oh my goodness, we have our last Subnautica 1, which also translates over to below zero in a way. Biome, the Void. Now, the Void for me. Thalassophobia up the wazoo. I posted a TikTok. Actually, I'm curious. Let's see how long was that TikTok. So I posted an ecological dead zone TikTok. It was 1.5 minutes. My entire experience in the Void was probably about 10 minutes that I had to cut down and edit because I actually was so scared. I was so scared to go through any of that. The Void is the Void. As iconic as the Reaper Leviathan is, the Void is the reverse of that. The Reaper is specifically a creature that is designed to be memorable, iconic, and horrifying. The Void is an area meant to be memorable, iconic, and horrifying, also with some lore. So you take the Void here, and it carries just as much weight as many things around here. While I think the mountains has a good combination of everything that you'd want to see in a biome that's meant to terrify you, the Void is the epitome of that. So I'd put it under the mountain island. There is some story behind how the crater works and the world's edge and why the ghosts are the way they are and how big they are. And I think it's pretty cool. But I'm going to put it on the lower side of S, but above the mountains. Because if the reason I respect the mountains so much is because of how well an iconic creature like the Leviathan, like the Reaper Leviathan, can utilize that area, along with his resources and whatever else. I think the Void is just, I'm telling you, I streamed on TikTok for a lot of these Subnautica playthroughs. The amount of times I had people coming through and saying, go to the Void, go to the Void. Have you been to the Void? Go to the Void, go to the Void, go to the Void. Have you been to the Void? Have you been to the Void? Have you go? Void. It is, as much as it annoys me sometimes, it is one of the bigger parts of Subnautica. There's a lot of S tier in here, right? Well, I guess it's 4 different things. It's Lost River, Mountain Island, Void, Mountains, Jellyshroom Cave. This is literally why I consider Subnautica such a crazy good game, because like every game does, like Map's Edge in a way, but never as iconic. I think so as well. The best part about the Void is it took a much needed game like barrier and got creative with it. But it implements lore for it as well, a terrifying creature, and it utilizes what makes Subnautica. Being in the ocean, terrified, just swimming for your life. Whether you're at the drop or you're at the very top, I think it's the same. I think it's the same feel overall after you get past the initial realization of what's going on. Whether you're at the top or the bottom, you are gonna feel fear, maybe for a different reason, but then once you get past a certain point, once you get away from that edge at the bottom or the top, I think it still becomes the same. It's the thalassophobia to the max that it could possibly be, other than actually being in the ocean, you know. I was scared of the crater's edge and how dark it was, but I was even more scared of being at the top and how blue it was. Maybe it's not as extensive as what I think the mountains are, but it is definitely more of a memorable moment. So I would keep it S tier. As far as memorable moments go, although the mountains I think is obviously the better biome, the Void is the more memorable moment. It is the more Subnautica moment. And that's kind of what this is like how much of what is Subnautica trying to do here really well received, and so the Void is just boom. It is the S tier of ecosystems. I think the best part about below zero is not the biomes, it's the creatures, which obviously the biomes try to utilize, but not always. So with that being the case, there's only so much that you can really, excuse me, what are you doing there? There's only so much that you can really run through with this. So before we get into the biomes, I do actually want to say, I do like below zero. It took a little bit of perspective change for me to envision below zero as more of a DLC rather than a full game on its own. But I think where below zero shines is more so the creatures than anything else, and the quality of life changes to the actual gameplay itself. Whether that was the oxygen bubbles that are like in the kelp forest or wherever else, along with like the stuff with the sea truck and whatever. There's a few quality of life changes that they did good well. The one quality of life change that they did bad was the prawn suit. They nerfed the prawn suit and it made it not fun. There was just no reason to do that. It's a single player game. Let us enjoy how awesome the prawn suit's supposed to be. The fact that they killed the prawn suit for me really just, I actually stopped using it. It was so frustrating to use. It was so against what I felt like it was supposed to be in Sub 1 that it really killed a lot of the game for me. However, I think the biomes, I think they set out to do some goals, but in Below Zero, I think most of them missed the mark pretty heavily. I think where Below Zero shines is its creatures, but let's get into it. We're in the sparse Arctic right now. Day. Sparse Arctic right now. I didn't use it the whole game. You don't really have to use the prawn suit in this game at all, because it's a smaller map in general, right? But do you guys see anything? Maybe the game hasn't loaded it in yet. Maybe that's what it is. The game hasn't loaded it. We'll wait a second longer. Maybe the game's gonna load it in. Maybe. Oh, you're telling me this is everything, huh? Are we sure? Maybe I go up top. Maybe I go up top. There's more stuff. Hold on. Relax, chat. Let's go back down. Let's look for some more. Yeah, I like your hole. Couple whole fish around here. Some quartz. Penguin. Right. Wholefish W indeed. Hello. Alright, well, congratulations, Below Zero has our first F of the day. Let's go! It's just a waste of space. This is an area that has literally nothing. It pretty much just takes up gigabyte space on my computer. If they remove this entire space, the game would be no different. There would be no change to anything else. You would not care. You would not notice. You would not feel any bit way. Maybe let's give it another chance to load. This is it. It really has nothing else to offer. Everything that you can have here is elsewhere as well, and even the resources that it does give you, you're not too worried about it. Pretty barren for the most part. It is 1,000,000% in F, and I will never change that for however long I live. That brings us to our next, the Kelp Shallows. So the Kelp Shallows are different from the Kelp Forest, but I kind of want to combine them together because they're pretty close to each other. Now the Kelp Shallows, we are in the Kelp Shallows. This is the area around your new home, your live pod. And, well, I think my favorite part about all of this was obviously the slight color change and whatever the heck else. But it's your little introduction into the new fish of Below Zero. This is your time to meet the sea monkeys. This is your place for the safety, for the food, all that stuff that you could ever want from the area that's right around your pod. But also there is actually some danger here. They show you about getting stuck under like ice, not sculptures. It's not a sculpture, idiot. Ice structures, you know. It is definitely a good start to the game. As much as some of the other parts of this introduction area are not all too filled with things, they definitely didn't cheap out on this area. I think this is also, if I was going to consider like how early into the game you are with this, and then all the little creatures like the sea monkeys and whatever else that you haven't met, I think it's a pretty low B tier. I really think it's a pretty low B tier. It's really pretty. It's got enough stuff around to sustain you for however long you want. And it lets you see just a bit of everything that you're going to want to see. You got the same introduction of peepers, bladderfish, all that stuff. I think it's a safe bet for a B tier. Not quite Subnautica 1 level B tier, but I do think it's a B tier indeed. I hate the kelp in the first game, but the kelp in Below Zero is pretty okay. I mean, in my book, I think so as well. Not the first part. I love the kelp in the first part because again, I think the introduction of the kelp in the first part was meant to show you the dangers of Subnautica. Not only is it plentiful with resources and everything else like that, food, all that stuff, let you help out the stalkers, symbiotic relations with aliens on the planet, whereas I think the Kelp Shallows here are more about, oh, I almost put a name, the safety in this area, and like the ice, and like it's a small introduction to the new world that you're in, but it's a good way to introduce it. I think this would go just above the Sparse Reef, because again, this is somewhere you're just going immediate and Below Zero, and it really did give me a lot of hope hope for how Below Zero was going to play out. Next, we got the kelp forest. Okay. Boom. Hey, wow. Give me some of that. I don't know how to click that. Never mind. 1, 2, 3. I don't know how to get that. Do I swim through it? I forgot how that works. I'll be honest with you. It's been a while since we played. Oh, you can't get it on creative, apparently. So this is not the only kelp cave. However, they all are structured the same, and they are structured pretty much by these little guys. This is your stalker of this game. The scary thing about the caves for me is getting lost in it, and the sea monkeys are sick as fuck, I can't lie. As far as I'm aware, these kelp forests are just your maze of the game, where you meet the sea monkeys, who are your stalkers of the game. This is also where you get your fun quality of life changes with the oxygen stuff. This is where, again, I had some pretty high hopes for Below Zero. Your kelp shallows up here kind of combine into your kelp forest stuff. For the most part, this is where it gets a little bit deeper, not quite shallow. This is where you can kind of get frozen. I almost died here, getting frozen. But for the most part, they kind of blend into each other. I think a lot of Below Zero's problems, if we're gonna keep talking about it in future regards, is that the biomes don't really mesh well together. I love the kelp shallows here, and I love the kelp caves. Because again, I think they set out to do a job, and they did them well. The introductions, the new creatures, our new symbiotic relationship with the animals on this planet, beautifully done in my opinion. You get the fun creatures as well, just looks insane. There's a lot to this. On top of the fact, as I mentioned with the original kelp caves, or the kelp forest, is there are cave systems where you can worry about getting lost. They don't make it too punishing. They make it just fun enough with all of this right here. But you got to keep an eye. You realize with the kelp caves that you're here to explore, and the exploring can go wrong very quickly. But it also can offer stuff like this where it's genuinely really beautiful. It actually is really beautiful. The hoverfish and the spinnerfish are the best. They are pretty funny. I do love the animals of Below Zero. I don't think were problematic at all by any means. Show us daytime. All right. Day. Boom. Look at that. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Wonderful. Oh, at the end of the day, it is still a Subnautica game. It is still a Subnautica game. The kelp at night is glowing and beautiful, but because of how the forest and the cave systems are so near where you start the game, you get to see this beautiful ambience with all the sunlight going through. At its core, even being a C or a B on a Subnautica tier list is still a good thing. As for the kelp caves, I would actually put it, or the kelp forest, I'd actually put it just above the kelp shallows. As much as I like the kelp shallows, again, it is a lesser version of the safe shallows of regular Subnautica, but it's still a good start for Below Zero. I think it's lesser, but it's still a good start. The kelp forest builds off of that very well. From the shallows to the caves and the kelp forest, it really meshes as it's supposed to. The small gradient into finally getting to this place where you can kind of accidentally end up lost. It's a big deal. A won, by the way. You think A wins? My issue with this, let me rephrase this, because maybe I'm looking at this wrong, because the last time you guys had such a differing opinion from me, it actually changed my opinion. The reason is, would it be above the crash zone? Would it be above the crash zone of Subnautica? I think the sea monkeys are fun, though. The reason the crash zone is in B at all is because of the Reapers and how iconic it is. It's the wannabe void, essentially. It is the wannabe void, and it's pretty much, you only go there to get scared. There's a couple resources, whatever, but still. Would the kelp forest be above the Reaper Leviathan crash zone? Because that is a pretty tough thing to beat. I do like the sea monkeys a lot. I actually do really like the sea monkeys. I didn't like them at the beginning. I think the quality of life, the reason it would be above the crash zone, I guess, would be specifically because the gameplay and the sea monkeys are so much more enjoyable in that little area. I guess sometimes being iconic is not worth just an actually good game, right? So that's, I guess, where I'm weighing this at. How iconic is the crash zone, and how good is the kelp forest gameplay wise? I think so. Actually, I'll change that up. Actually, I think you guys are right. You guys are pretty good at persuading me. I think I would put it just below. I think I would put it just below the lava lakes, because this is essentially another version of Grassy Plateau. Maybe it's not quite that as extensive. The Grassy Plateau is just a very good tool, but it's only that. And the crash zone of Aurora is a perfect icon for gaming, but it isn't much more than that. Kelp Forest, I think, is really good gameplay. I think it's actually, yeah, because I guess it comes down to this. Do I value the tool that lets me play the game more, the iconic part of the game, or the gameplay that actually is enjoyable? The Sea Monkey was fun. Swimming around, seeing the new area, getting lost, that it's Subnautica experience. I value the Subnautica experience more, I think. If we're talking about the Lost River being up here in S tier, I think you guys are actually right. I'm going to drop it over. I'm going to put it just below the lava zone because this gives the Subnautica experience. You're exploring, you're meeting new creatures, you're sharing stuff with them. They're giving you iron, whatever the heck else. I'm actually going to put it up top because the Kelp Forest is Subnautica experience. This is the Subnautica tool, and this is Subnautica iconic moment. Not quite the most iconic, as you can tell. We have all the stuff up top, but I'll put it there. The Kelp Shallows, I think, though, is not quite as memorable. I do remember the Kelp Forest quite a bit. I will say that. I'll give that to you guys. Let's go to our next. We got the Twisted Bridges next. We got the Twisted Bridges and the Deep Twisty Bridges. If you watched my playthrough, you'll know that this is where I built my home. I think this is one of the coolest biomes Subnautica has to offer. It took something that was kind of a little bit given to us in the shallows of the kelp over there on the far side, and then it expanded on it quite a bit more. This at night is unreal, and it just keeps going. While I think the grassy plateau, the red grassy plateau over in Subnautica 1 was your introduction into the deep, I feel like this is really your introduction into the deep on the opposite side in Below Zero. This biome is beautiful. This is, to me, what a Subnautica biome actually should kind of be built like. There is a ton of resources that are at the top. There's a lot of things that are hurtful at the top, but there's also, you guessed it, your way down. So as you pass through all these things, you start taking resources off the top, you realize it keeps just going. It just keeps going. And the biome keeps getting more and more colorful. There's more and more pretty lights. And as you scale further, you see a little crevice. And I think this builds into itself so well. Because now the water's changing color. It is getting bluer. It is still pretty. But it's a whole new world down here. Things that can kill you. Things that can help you. More of the same biome extended and really cool creatures. You've got thermal vents. You've got new resources that are obtainable. Look how cool this area is. And then look up. Sometimes you just look up and you don't know which way is here, which way is where. And I don't think there's any problem with this biome, if I'm being honest with you. If every biome took the steps that the Twisty Bridges took to become what this is, to get to the seafloor, what are we at here? We're at 365 meters deep. If every biome took the steps to be what this is in Below Zero, the game would be a lot more full. There was a gradient from biome to biome to biome to biome that makes it feel natural, like what we're doing is actually a part of this world and it all belongs. You guys say A tier? No joke, I'm putting this A tier. I think it's a perfect biome. I would put this above the Mushroom Forest. Actually, I would put this above the Kelp Forest. Floating Island, how high would I put this? I do think as a biome itself, if we're ignoring the rest of Subnautica, that this is either the top of A or above Jelly Shroom Cave. If we single out this one biome and we combine it with the Deep Twisty Bridges as well, I actually do think you put it above Jelly Shroom Caves. And I might even put it above the mountains. Oh my goodness. Because we're talking about now two biomes that are specifically built around gameplay. Deep Twisty Bridges for sure, but normal Twisty lower, but I think they kind of go hand in hand. Because one builds into the other and allows the other to succeed so well. The Twisted Bridges is where I built my my base in my playthrough. And it had an abundance of things that were dangerous, but not overly annoying. It had abundance of materials that you could use for all different things and whatever the heck else you want. It had an open route to pretty much anything you needed on the map. Where the Twisted Bridges are is just kind of ideal in my opinion when it comes to Below Zero. I kind of ran into the kelp forest early on, of below zero, the kelp caves and whatnot, and then I did the twisty bridges was like my second thing, and it leads you into like the main storyline of all this stuff. I think you kind of got to combine these to really solidify them together. I'll put deep twisty above the twisted bridges, but I think both have their promise. I actually, no joke, when I put this above mountains, I actually probably gonna put this above mountains. I think so. I don't think it's above the void though. I think the void is just too good at what it does. The void is the pinnacle of ocean horror. So I leave it there. Look at this. Look at this. Wow, look at this. Actually, I might actually even show a video of my base to show how much I really just appreciated the hell out of this. It feels really cool that there's so many places to hide. There's also, I think there's diamond down here that you initially need. The alien bases, as I mentioned. The cave system itself. Like, this is so cool. This is it. You are in the ocean witnessing a starry night sky. So cool. Look at this. Is so unbelievably cool. Again, this is my tier ranking. Everywhere you look is just awe. Like, wow. Surrounded by beauty. That's a Subnautica biome, if I've ever seen one. Next one, Crystal Cave. We won't combine the crystal caves. We probably should though, huh? They're kind of all do the same thing. They are your introduction into a Leviathan that is just really fucking cool, honestly. Really fucking cool. Super awesome Leviathan. As iconic? No. Kind of annoying in the way? Yes. Shadow Leviathan is really cool, but fuck that thing. It is really cool, but I think it just ends up becoming more of a nuisance rather than something to be scared of. Crystal caves are pretty nice, even though they were pretty easy to get lost in. This is... To me, the crystal cave was an obstacle meant to kind of just make you pay attention to how you're navigating, but it's really hard. It's kind of annoying to be in the crystal cave, if I'm being honest with you. I think the crystal cave, not even that I know the crystal cave is the lava zone of below zero, but it does a better job looking prettier. For that reason, it's not just somewhere that you go through one time because they force you to kind of go back through. I'd actually put it probably just below the crash zone. You're not really going there for resources. You can grab some stuff. You get to see the shadow, but then you're just kind of there. You're kind of wondering what's going on, why you're here. I might even put it top of C. It is, no, actually, I will lie. No, because top C would just be it's a biome that's just there. B is a memorable biome. B at least has some bit of memory to it. I'll put it just below the crash zone. It is a weaker version of being around the Aurora. I think the red fabricator blows your mind a little bit more. The cave fissures that are all throughout the red, they're cool little pockets to hide from the shadow, but they don't really do much else. I think they're just there as well, but we'll put those little fissures. This is kind of like similar to the underwater islands, where it's next to a crazy biome, which is the caves, where the underwater islands is near, kind of near dunes, kind of near mountains, whatever else, but it's not really the main attraction. It's got too many things around it to really make it a focus. It's just there. I'd say red fabricator cave, definitely really cool. Crystal cave, your introduction to the shadow, also pretty cool, but they end up just being a chore. You go through them, but they are memorable. They are memorable for those two reasons. The beauty of it, not so much the resources, but the beauty of it and the shadow itself is a pretty cool experience. But I would say below most of what these other options are. I think it's a pretty safe bet to assume so many of these biomes are just going to end up in B because, again, I think Subnautica is very good at making sure a biome has a purpose. Deep Purple Cave. Now, this is actually somewhere, apparently, I did not go in my playthrough. So, let's go check biome. I'm going to hate on many of the land biomes, by the way. Live your life, live your life. This is actually a biome, apparently, I did not go to in my actual playthrough. There's a lot of alien technology around here that's just kind of there. There's an attempt here at doing something really special with trying to give you tools and whatnot. But like, what? Why is this just here? I think if anything, it feels random. It feels empty. It feels unnecessary. Whenever you go into an alien base for Subnautica 1, there feels like that base had a purpose and a reason for being there. For below zero, the ones that I've been through here at least, and the ones that I'm seeing right now in front of me, they seem a little bit just random, tossed in there for the sake of being tossed in there. I think these things just exist. And by that, I actually know they just exist because I didn't see half of these. Maybe you find them, maybe you don't, but even seeing it now, I'm kind of like, who cares if I didn't? Who cares if I did? All of these caves, I would say, I think they just go to like the bottom of C. I think they're just there. I think they're just there. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I think they're D. I might even go F. I feel like you need to scrap the entire thing. They just button mash their way into a Subnautica biome. I'm going to put it F. I'll put it below the sparse. I'm going to put it high F. Because although, like these other ones, maybe they're not quite the most fun, they're kind of annoying to go through, they seem like they have like some reason, you know? But deep purple cave, all the deep purple, the alien technology and stuff, there's not a whole lot. Sparse is literally nothing. Yeah, sparse is literally nothing. But the deep purple, I think they need a redesign from whatever they're trying to do there. I could see trying to implement alien technology across wherever, but they're not doing anything with it. That's why I felt bad with how much story revamps they had, because I feel that messed up with a lot of the biomes and creatures and set biomes. Yeah, you can definitely tell where things were just kind of stamped and left alone because, well, at least there's something there, and according to how some of the devs probably felt at that moment. But I know it's not entirely their fault. I know there's a lot of things that happen that don't always work out the way that they would want it to when it comes to a game like this. But hey, I'm going to leave it F. I think that's where it belongs. I think it needs a revamp from what it is. Let's go to the tree spires. Now, before I look up, just know that this was another one of those wow moments for me, for sure. Because holy shit, you can go inside, and you bet your sweet ass I'm swimming straight inside. Let's go. Come on up. Come on up. It's like you're entering a new world. Wow. Wow. Holy shit. Now, I do not think there's really much in here that's actually all special, but the idea itself is so unbelievably cool that I would like to say kudos to you if you made this. If you thought of this in your sleep or whatever the fuck else, you deserve warm cookies and some milk like Santa Claus, because you just gifted us something absolutely fantastic. There's the two here. I only ever saw the one that has the chili carrot. Unfortunately, this biome doesn't stretch all too much. It's just the area around it. But I found the one that had the other two chili carrots, and I thought that was a pretty cool little spot to kind of hang out and really get a good view on how the chilies are, because if you're inside that, the chilies can't hit you. But these are sick. These are absolutely sick. This is that Subnautica feel, I think. Although the surrounding parts aren't super exciting, I think the main attraction is all you need here. I think it's absolutely all you need here. Some of the parts move on the inside. You can go inside the thing. There's steam up top. Cool. I would say for me, personally, between this one and the other one that you can see, I would put this probably just below the Crystal Cave. I wish you'd have more space in them to build a base. Yeah, I don't think there's much you can do with them, but it is one of those moments in Subnautica that you will think of, and below zero, that you will think of whenever you do think of below zero. And much like the Crystal Cave and whatnot, I think the Crystal Cave and the Fabricator Cave, because they have the shadows and the alien technology, they're part of the lore, they're kind of just what you need to experience. I think they're a little more memorable. They also just much bigger biome to remember as well. I think they would be just above the tree spires, but the tree spire itself is a very much a wow moment. Very much a wow moment. A great biome, missing a lot of things, but a great biome nonetheless. Then we got our east icebergs. Two icebergs, two big icebergs. Let's go check out the east one. We're actually probably going to free cam for this. East iceberg. Sweet. As we mentioned, the creatures are like the best part about Subnautica below zero. You've got your hoops. I'm going to go swim through you real quick. Boop. Neat. You've got your wells over on the far side. Got a couple of the rays. I think the rays done in Subnautica games are so marvelous. It's absolutely so cool. These are the things that I would see in my dreams, and I would love every minute of it. You've got your icebergs that kind of meet up over towards this area, but the actual biome itself is pretty empty. You've got ore deposits, but nothing else to kind of supplement the area with like nature and whatnot. You know, for most of this, it's just ground, ore deposit. Ground, ore deposit. I think the creatures saved this one. This area is hella boring. Yeah, there ain't shit, pretty much. The creatures are the only thing that you pay attention to, but that's not special to this biome. So with that being the case, I think this is just honestly, this is a revamp for me. I think there's just so much on that bottom area. Low D for me. It would either be low D for me or F. And the reason I'd say F is because I feel like there was such a missed mark here. I'm looking straight down into nothing. You know, the iceberg is like the big part right here, right? So let's go to free cam real quick. So the iceberg is the actual biome location, right? But then you come up top and what else do you have? Besides a few glow whales, you don't really have much else. The glow whales that actually are towards where you spawn in at though, are much more enjoyable to kind of be around. Because there's stuff there. There's some color. There's not just this. Like, you see how it just feels like an indie game that isn't finished? I think that's what most below zero biomes end up feeling like. And again, also why I'm so sad. I feel like they started from the actual spawn point, worked their way out, got to the twisty bridges, did the twisty bridges, and then from there, everything just kind of fails. I love the glow whales so much. They're so cool. The fact that you can ride them is so awesome. It's going to stay up for me. I think it's going to stay up for me. And that moves us on to our west iceberg. Now this one is a chore. The west iceberg here has a little bit more variety to the animals. You've got your jellyfish friends, and although they look super awesome, it becomes the same process. Go down to the bottom, look for what you can, and well, there's just nothing. There's just nothing. At the very least, the resources are pretty easy to see. And your jellyfish are abundant in color, but if you take this one big look at all of this, they're the only things that really catch your eye whatsoever. If they were going to introduce the landmass, they should have done more with it. They should have done more with it. You've got nothing. You've just got nothing on these, and it's a bit unfortunate. The jellies are pretty overall underwhelming. Yeah, and that would pretty much follow back with the same idea that I was mentioning earlier, is when the only thing you've got going for your biome is a really cool animal, well, probably should add just a tiny bit more. It's just slightly below the east iceberg, but I do think it's still better than the rest. The jellies are really cool. The glow whales, having a glow whale in your biome is an automatic point to you. So there's that. Delta Island. Damn, look at that. One of the cool things Subnautica did, though. Holy shit, look at that. Look at that view. Look at that view. Fuck you, sir. It is now day. Sorry for the flashbang. What a view. What a view indeed. What a view indeed. Alright. So we're on Delta Island now. You do get an introduction to these plants earlier on. This is just a pivotal part of the story. I think lore-wise, the story was enjoyable. Wasn't the most enticing, but it was enjoyable. And now you're just here. There's some cool things on this island. Resource-wise, it is very good. Lore-wise, you do need it to progress. But as for the rest of the island, it does kind of just feel annoying to go through. You got a couple things that you can get here and there. Couple cool parts to it. But it's just W Simulator. This is W Simulator, just like back in Subnautica 1's first major island that most people would go to. Except it doesn't have that wow factor, because you kind of already knew you were going on land. You knew you were going on land, and it guides you here. There's not that mysterious fog over the island. So many people have been here before. Whatever the heck else it is, it just, there's no magic to it. But it is good resources. I would say as one of your main introductions to like all the land stuff. As one of your main introductions to all the land stuff, I would probably put it at C, just below the dunes. It's kind of just there. You do know it's part of the story. It's got some good stuff to it, but it is just a land. It is just a little bit of landmass. Above the blood kelp and whatever, because there is purpose, there is material that you probably want to get. But other than that, it's just Delta Island. Ain't nobody care. We got thermal spires. Thermal spires. Woo! Yay! Awesome. Let's go TP to thermal spires. Okay, the thermal spires. There are two things that this place has. One is a lot of hope a lot of hope for cool things to be here, and 2, these loud motherfuckers that are actually really cool looking, but again, just so unbelievably loud and annoying for no reason. As much as I don't like them, I do love their design. Pretty cool overall. A little bit spammed throughout the rest of this map, but these thermal spires itself, if we're talking about the biome, there's just nothing here. There's just nothing here. You have thermal heat. Thank you for that. Thank you for giving me heat, but there's just no reason to utilize any of this stuff. The resources, ass. When you have all of this right next to it, in your twisty bridges, you pretty much only ever walk through here to grab the occasional bit of material that you can find, and if you try to go deeper into the caves that these spires have, you waste your time. The spires here in the caves are just an in the way biome. That's all. This is another pass-through area where, like I said, you'll occasionally find the little bit of resource that you want, but you're mostly trying to get from here to our next biome on the list, and these caves just have nothing to offer. Although the top looks like the deeper you go, there's quite a few things. Let's explore our first cave together, chat. Let's explore our first cave. Look how barren and empty it is. Maybe it gets a little bit better. Maybe it gets a little better. 1, 2, 3, and all the stuff you can find outside, nothing changes. We keep going. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's differences in what we see. Oh, well, that's not that way. Maybe. Wait a minute, I saw this on the surface. Why is it down here as well? Ultimately, it falls flat. Ultimately, I'm not impressed. Everything that you get down here, you can get up top. And it's a crevasse of hope that you lose very quickly and realize, hey, there's no real reason to be here. There's no real reason to be here. So, to that I say, it does have some valuable resources, but damn does it stay down towards the bottom of D. I don't like being there. I don't like going through it, but hey, I'll pick something up that has some value every now and then. And that's about as far as it'll go. But our next item on the list, the purple spires. We are now to the purple vents, which is also harboring the things that we know and love near and dear to our heart. While the spires give a lot of hope and don't offer a whole lot in return, this place, just as loud, but actually has some resources that you're probably going to come back to pretty often. It is a resource heaven, a bit dangerous, a bit noisy, a lot dangerous, a lot noisy, but it is kind of a key part of how this game operates. I think the best part about this is it does feel like a complete biome. This feels like somewhere where the grass around, all the wildlife around and whatnot should be barren. The rocks, how it operates, it feels natural. It doesn't feel like we're missing anything here. They locked in with a cool biome that has some pretty colors, and I'm down for pretty colors. And then if you look around you, holy shit, let's go ahead and make that day. If you look around you, it expands and it goes down into other levels, and it becomes more than just a one-dimensional plane. It goes and goes and goes. There's chili carrots. There's a couple little wreckage spots, some boxes to pull some stuff out of, some pretty cool scans, and usually, from at least the 2 or 3 playthroughs that I've seen, I say 2 or 3 because one was a half-ass watch, you will find your first chili carrot in this area. That guy over there is it's a good introduction to what Below Zero has to offer. Unfortunately, it kind of falls here. And then, of course, you lead over to your wrecks and whatnot. The purple vents, I think, is a pretty cool spot. It's a complete biome, and there's not really much else to say about it, I think. It isn't extravagant in any way, but it is good at what it does. I think I would place this, honestly, just actually, no joke, I would place this just above the tree spires. The tree spire, while it is a cool spectacle, it's not a complete biome like the purple vents are. I do like the vents. I do think they're really cool. I do like the chili carrot. Our crypto-succus friends that are around there add a little bit of tension to the area. So, hey, we push on. The purple vents, I'll put it low B, just above our tree spires, but just below our crystal cave, because it doesn't quite have that iconic character, creature, the Shadow Leviathan and the beauty that the caves have to offer. So, B, you guys voted B as well. Nice, sweet. See, we see eye to eye sometimes. We really do. To the mining cave we go. Well, what a cool entrance we have here. Now, if you haven't been to the mining side, don't worry. You actually don't really need to come here for too much else. But it is a pretty cool introduction to, I guess, the lore of how much our good friends were invested into finding what they were looking for on this planet. And down you go. You've got your prawn suit by this point at least. The mining site is just what it is. It is a mining site. You've got a few things here that are valuable to you. Main one being the prawn suit. But resource-wise, I actually don't remember what you get from here. Because I don't believe you actually need much that you can't get from other places. Ruby is a good start. Lots of technology, lots of good scans. Some quality of life changes. A pretty cool atmosphere overall. The cave system itself is a great idea. You really don't have to add much to this because it's a mining site. You get your alien artifacts here. Really cool alien artifact, by the way. Passively, this gives you quite a bit of lore because of the spotlight setup and whatnot. That they really were looking for some crazy shit down here. And they found something. They really did. And did it help them out in the end? Hell no. They're all dead. The openness, once you get over to this far side, kind of lost me a little bit. I thought it was going to lead a little bit more into a bigger climactic end, but it really doesn't. You got some ore deposits. Again, good resources. Good resources. Good little bit of lore. But I think it probably sits towards B. I think it probably sits toward like the lower side of B. You don't have to come here. But when you do, odds are you're getting something good out of it. Odds are you are getting something good out of it and you're just never coming back again. It's very far out of the way. I would personally put the mining cave. To me, this is the sparse reef of this game. It's meant to solidify how we do business on this planet, and that's what it does. It's got some lore drops. It's got some essential items. You don't have to go there, much like the sparse reef. But I think for what it is, if you do go there, you're probably leaving with something valuable. It's pretty safe, pretty chill, not a whole lot craziness to it. So we'll leave it bottom tier at B, just above Sparse Reef. Our next, the Frozen Leviathan. Now, I don't really know if this is considered a biome by any means. I imagine this Leviathan around the map. Yeah, no, I'm good. And this Leviathan on the map would probably make me Alt F4. From what I learned about it, it's a salamander, so it's water and land, but it's mostly on land from what people were saying. Based on how it is shaped and all that stuff. But this itself, the cave, all the lead up to this, this all kind of belongs to the main island, the main bit of land that you're kind of traversing on. This thing is so cool, though. And if we're talking about iconic moments in games, I will say this is probably the one, other than the ending, that stands out the most to me. If we're talking about storyline and all the details that involve that, not only do you have cool shit over here and cool scans, but you've got this big boy sitting there and waiting. Go give him a boop. That's a big bish. That's a big bish. This is BZ's Reaper in terms of iconic creatures. Absolutely. The Shadow. It's funny because you could get killed and eaten by a Shadow Leviathan, but it still would not sit in your brain any better than seeing this thing for the first time was. This is so iconic. It was on every thumbnail at one point. Yeah. Yeah. Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. I think a perfect example of Below Zero being a what-if kind of game. Whereas the rest of Subnautica offered you a ton of content while still showing you the skeletons to the point where you weren't like, wow, I'm glad there's more skeletons and whatnot. This game kind of makes you wonder, like, what if they did have something like this? Like, they were not lacking in design by any means. They had really cool ideas, really cool designs for creatures. The story in and of itself, it wasn't bad by any means. Maybe not quite as enticing, but still a fun ride along. And the Frozen Leviathan is just... discovering this is probably the big moment for all of this, you know? As iconic as it is probably like the big moment for this game. Not quite a biome, like I said. It's part of all this mass and whatever else. There are quite a few good things around here. Not building a base here by any means, but still, even so, because it is such a special moment, I included it on this list. And because it's such a special moment, I'm going to toss this up on over towards... This is such a cool moment. I'm looking at... Whenever I place it somewhere, it's also a lizard. It's a salamander, right? Big salamander? Or no? That's a really big fish. That's a really big fish. I actually might put this above A. I think it is actually a crazy iconic moment. I'm going to put it up here. I don't think it's quite S. Fuck. It actually might be S. Oh my god. Below Zero, again, is still a Subnautica game at its core. It has some very iconic moments. The Frozen Leviathan is so sick. This is a wow moment that I think I could probably put up there with like seeing a Reaper Leviathan or the Sea Dragon or a Ghost for the first time. My first initial descent into the Lost River. I think this is a really cool moment. I think the area surrounding it, the lore that drops with it, was fun and enticing. The higher I put this, the more I want to keep putting it above. I think Below Zero has some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows, whereas the rest of the Subnautica OG was just consistently good at doing what it was trying to accomplish. I'm actually going to move this up to S tier. I believe it truly belongs up there. What made me really sad was how anticlimactic was Sam's stories. Yeah, we just kind of forgot about Sam. Sam just kind of disappeared. Would I put it above the deep, twisty bridges, though? I think I would. I think the Frozen Leviathan is our Lost River moment for Below Zero. When you get to that point, you're going to be thinking, this is why I love this game, for sure. So a lot of other really neat spots, like the alien artifacts and whatnot, all very pretty. Not exactly biomes, but the Frozen Leviathan in and of itself, as mentioned, it was on thumbnails everywhere. It is the front line of what Below Zero is trying to be, and I like it a lot. I think the deep twisty bridges are the S tier of Below Zero gameplay, and our Frozen Leviathan is the S tier of Below Zero creatures. This is our gargantuan Leviathan of Below Zero. I actually didn't want to do too much of the land stuff, but I will put these here. We've got our first one here. You can barely read these. I made the text too small for these ones. Big roar. We got some trees, chat. We got some trees. Well, we're on land. Is anybody excited about being on land? Because I was for a bit, and then I'd realize it just doesn't really make me that excited anymore. Now I'm just stuck and lost. The creatures are pretty cool. I do love my snow stalkers. I do love the way these trees look. But to me, it feels like the land version of the lava zone, where it's just a chore to get through. And once you've gone through this, you're not coming back. No, you see the beauty one time, and it's just kind of there. Land got boring after a while. I would agree. I would definitely agree. As much as I wish there was more stuff to do with the land, there just isn't. And for that, I think we can only give it the rating of a biome that it is just on the map for the sake of being on the map, and the one-time experience that you get to have with it. So that I'll probably give it the bottom of C. They force you to go through it. Oh, sorry. Wait, that's wrong. Yeah, I would probably put it just below the Delta land. Because these other ones are just areas that you can go to if you would like to experience them and get some stuff on them, but you don't have to. This one is still pretty. You do kind of have to go to it, or you do have to go to it, and you can get some pretty valuable resources around in the area. The land was a cool idea, but not executed well, in my opinion. And then that'll take us to our Arctic Spires. There is our friend over here. Hello, friend. Now, there are 3 words that I think of whenever I come to this area. They are very much part of my very highly opinionated content creator brain. I think I see that guy over there and I think Iceworm potential. All I could really think of with the Iceworm is that it had so much potential to be much more than it is, to make the land feel like almost like the ocean was. And then I got hit with it one time. I think it did maybe 30 damage. It's so easy to dodge. It is more so just a nuisance than whatever else. But it was a very good concept that failed to deliver. I wish that thing did so much more damage. It is so much bigger than the other Leviathans that we're dealing with. And we're in its home territory. It's burrowing through land. It's got a giant horn on it. It is a Dark Souls boss. And it just misses. I know not everybody agrees with that. I know dying in a game like this isn't always fun, but the scariness that came from Subnautica was the fact that you could go out exploring and just get obliterated by a 50-foot long creature. They made it look so much scarier in the trailer. Yeah. I think it's ice swarm potential is all I can think of when it comes to this area. Now the biome itself is beautiful. I love the wizard gaps they got going on here, but they don't offer much. This is ice swarm. This to me should have been what the mountains is for the Reaper Leviathan in Subnautica 1. This should have been the ice swarm's playground, where they absolutely let it have the time of its life, going after you, make it an obstacle course, whatever the heck you gotta do. You've got some good resources. They make you go through this, as far as I'm aware. Some cool skeletons in the area. But it fails to really let the ice worm be the ice worm that it was supposed to be. The terror that lurks beneath the ice. The initial jump scare, obviously terrifying. The roars leading up to it. The setup into the ice worm was 10 out of 10, I think, honestly. And then it just didn't deliver. I think it got nerfed in the full game, no? And EA, it was OP. Maybe it did. I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't know that far back, so maybe if anybody would want to educate me on that, I'm more than down to be educated on that. But I think it was all bark, no bite, and to me, it just ended up being a little chihuahua that I would walk by after however long and say, see ya, buddy. I'm just going to keep walking this way. You, whatever it is you do it. Biome itself, really cool, really pretty. Could have been iconic. I think this could have been iconic, but it misses. With that being the case, I will toss it. I guess the way we word this is I think this could have been the mountains of the land for Below Zero, but instead it became the dunes of the land, and it failed to hit its mark. Where it offered a lot of danger and potential of fear, it fell flat by not making the worm, I guess, just strong enough, scary enough, able to utilize its surroundings well enough. It was very much, there was no strategy needed for this. You just kind of ran in a straight line away from it, and then you're fine. You know, after a certain point, you just you're just good. You stop being scared of it, and the big bad ice worm becomes a little earthworm that you step on eventually. It is what it is. We've got the lily pads, lily pad islands, and the lily pad cove crevice, which actually leads us somewhere else as well. I think this is another scenario that is very similar to how I felt about the Twisted Bridges, where from top to bottom, the entire biome felt like it belonged. It felt complete. It really does seem so cool, especially when nighttime comes. You jump on top of one of those giant lily pads, you look into the sky, and there is an eclipse with the northern lights. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the northern lights here. Oh, they're in the north, whatever we want to call them. But you get this beautiful scenery while you're standing on top of an alien lily pad with the glow whales right below you. I believe there is a chili somewhere over yonder. Let's do this real quick. Oh, we got our jellyfish friends as well. Forgot those guys are here for a second. Look at this. From top to bottom, you get a complete biome. And then it keeps going. It keeps going. It makes sure that whatever is up here can be seen growing down there as well. It doesn't seem like one random chunk of land or whatever that's just, boom, placed here for no reason, and then the rest of things around it don't actually match up. This entire area builds off of our wreckage. It's got floating islands. It has stuff that goes down into the ground. You've got a couple glimpses of alien technology around. You've got crevasses that are as deep as you could ever want to swim in this game. The lily pad biome, I think, to me, is pretty cool. Wish there were more unique creatures? I think so as well. When it comes to the creatures in this game, utilizing the same creatures over and over again in the other biomes, a little bit of a miss. But to certain biomes, they feel like they belong a little bit more. So to that I say, I feel like the lily pad caves utilize these creatures a little bit more than the rest of them did. Especially like when you're over by the icebergs and whatnot, and those creatures just tossed in there because they need something. Nah, we could have probably thought of something maybe a little bit different or whatever the heck else. But look at this. What a sight to behold, huh? You got glow wells, you got your lily pads, you got floating rocks, a whole bunch of cool stuff that from the top to bottom is complete. And when I press it like this, truly a sight to behold. Truly a sight to behold. It really is. It's that same feeling towards the Twisted Bridges. Maybe not as fulfilling, But I don't think they missed with this at all. Because as with the Twisted Bridges, if you kept going down, you saw the growth spot. You saw the roots. Hi, little sea monkey. You saw the roots of what really makes this biome grow into what it is. There's resources. Very good resources. Got lots of good stands. Lots of good scans. A whole lot of sea monkeys giving you some pretty cool stuff. A whole lot of plant life around here. And the biome, it just keeps going. It goes. I love it. I really do love this. This leads into our three of our biomes. It's the lily pads up top, the initial top island part where all the floating islands are, and then your crevasse here. Your crevasse, where there's not as much here, but it seems like the life around everything else is all working together. And there is purpose. There's intention to the design here. And I say to that, I think this is actually a pretty high beat, if I'm being honest with you. I think what it sets out to do is very well done. And you definitely will find yourself coming back here more and more. You might get a little bit lost, but that's part of Subnautica. Because when you see something like this, you can't help but go down that cave. You really can't help but go down that cave. The crevasse is absolutely stunning. Everything else on top makes it worth coming through. And our sea monkey friends, well, they come in clutch here. They really do. I believe we got the ultra high capacity tank from here. And look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Got a few things over here helping us out. A couple more caves and whatnot. And I truly think this is a spectacle to behold in this game, for sure. This is a definitely, I would say, like an 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to a bio. I would say our lily pad coves here are the grand reef of this game. So they set out to do some things, nothing super crazy good, but it is still awesome. I would put it just above our kelp forest. Obviously, our lava stuff is a little bit more iconic, but the lily pads, I would say they just fall just below these. If I had to rearrange our lava lakes and our lily pads, I would say maybe the sea dragon and the grand reef can swap places. They're pretty close, but the lily pads really fall just below that. All of it really does fall just below that. The lily pads up top, although really cool, I don't think they get that Subnautica feel, that deep ocean feel, as much as the crevasse and the islands do. The pads itself, still cool though. Still definitely cool. And it, again, from top to bottom, I think you have to compare these all together because they're actually pretty beautiful. Yeah, you know, the roots have some cool atmosphere. I believe so as well. All the bioluminescent stuff that is around below zero is actually really well done, and it makes it seem like I would say it makes it seem like traveling isn't so scary at times. But I kind of let my guard down with a few things, especially below the deep twisted bridges. And I paid for that. I paid for that with the squid shark, scaring the hell out of me, and those plants that pull you down. Lily pads, cool design. They are the grand reef of what below zero is. All right, we actually have another biome that is not on the list. I forgot to add it to our little list. But luckily for us, it's actually pretty close. So we're going to swim there. Because, well, why the hell not? Enjoy some Subnautica music. My only issue with this is actually something that we needed to show by swimming here. Is look at what I was talking about when it comes to a biome kind of just randomly appearing. You go from that dark forest green, that ominous feel of everything's so dark around you, to this very glowy, bright, crazy biome. But damn, does it not matter, because it is absolutely gorgeous. You swim a little bit here and you see, wow, red lights, vines. It's actually pretty amazing in here. And then you see your first flower. And then you see the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth. A little bit of alien technology mixed in. Wow. Wow. On top of that, you got your favorite fish over here. How you doing, bud? Unfortunately, we can't get hypnotized by this guy because we are in creative mode. But these guys are so cool. One of the prettiest biomes mixed with one of the coolest fishes. And to boot, we got alien technology here. You got a few things here that are pretty resourceful when it comes to how you want to play this game. You've got a base down here. Let's go ahead and check this out, because I think this actually all matters. On top of your quality of life stuff, Just the way that this cave was designed. Also, another complete biome. Maybe I don't like the transition so much, but again, it feels full. It feels like it has intention to how this place is supposed to operate. I absolutely love this biome so much. And that is even everything that it has to offer. Because if you travel just a little bit further, there it is. There it is. Now, I know we weren't taking... Now, I know we were not taking alien artifacts into consideration when we're talking about biomes. But we are taking the lore and the fact that these are in the biome into account when it comes to the biome outside. So while we're not ranking what is my favorite alien artifact, we are adding this to the total rating of the biome outside. Because when you look at that and then you swim out to this, Subnautica feeling through and through. This is so cool of an area. So beautiful. There are good resources. There's some quality of life stuff. We've got some shells. We got some whatever the heck else that we need. We've also got our little golden egg friend. You know? We've got diamonds. We've got a few things we can grab on the outsides. It's all that you really kind of want from a biome, I would say. It doesn't do anything specifically special, but it is that wow factor that Subnautica is here to offer. And the wow factor is damn near half the battle. Damn near half the battle. You guys say A, I'm agreeing with you. I think this is also an A biome. It's just a matter of where we place it. It is easy to get lost out here. This is the adventure side of Subnautica that you get to feel as well. I am actually blown away by this. This is one of my favorite biomes. I think if we're talking about specific, look at that. I would put this at the top of A. I think the difference between jelly shroom caves and deep lily pad caves is, although they are both similar in concept, very beautiful to dive into, very enticing to get you there, it doesn't have that same feel of your first big deep dive like Subnautica OG is. By the time you get to below zero, you are used to a dive like this. You've gone way deeper and beyond, so it doesn't have that really precedent feeling to it of being the first time you probably looked up and said, oh shit, where's my exit, you know? You had plans for this, you thought it out a little bit more, but I do think it is another version of what I would consider the epitome of a good Subnautica biome. Things to explore that are beautiful beyond measure, things that are still there to kill you, but ultimately it's the stuff that keeps you pushing forward. No matter how dangerous it might be, you looked into an area and said, I want to explore that. And that was Jelly Shroom Cave. That is what Lily Pad Cave is as well. I think that's the ideal placement for it. One of the most memorable moments of Below Zero for me, and to this day, one of my favorite biomes across the entire series. Can't wait for what Subnautica 2 has to offer, though, because there's probably going to be quite a few more things that line up with what we consider an S tier in Subnautica biome. Okay, we're officially on to our last bit of the ranking. And although I didn't consider it a biome at first, shout out Lucas, was pretty convincing. I included the Frozen Leviathan, which I think was a big staple of Below Zero. I included the research layer there as a biome, just because it's so iconic. So why not include the Sea Emperor as well? So here we are. Let's check out the Sea Emperor's room. Wow. Hey there, sweetheart. Glad to see you're okay again. Last I saw you, you croaked. What a beautiful room, though. It is actually, I mentioned it before we re-logged into regular Subnautica, that this room doesn't really utilize anything new. Other than the Sea Emperor herself, everything here is just pulled from the world around, which is actually cool for the lore. And they're all just given this kind of different feel to them. They're all docile. None of them are here trying to murder you. Everything is cured, you know? It's a very tranquil place. And the layer itself, as I mentioned, was kind of like the FNAF pizza sim of Subnautica biomes, where it's not meant to be anything other than a very big lore drop. But then you think of the alien technology surrounding it, and while I was mainly focused on this area right here, and all that this has to offer, which isn't much at all, when you look around, you cannot help but appreciate what this room makes you feel. It is that holy shit, this is it moment. I'm gonna die when the Sea Emperor pops up. And then you find out, well, all the sad story behind everything that she's currently involved in, at least in this gameplay, dead in my other one. But we don't talk about that other one. But the room itself is really cool. I do think this is a very emotional part of Subnautica. For myself, and for many others, hatching the babies, watching the Emperor go down, it's kind of trapped in this cage. It is, it adds a lot. It adds a lot. We finally found a friend that is willing to talk to us, and we lose her not too far after. So, as for this biome itself, creativity-wise, design-wise, and everything, it really isn't the craziest thing we've seen. Although it's a really cool room with the alien technology, it is not like the most extravagant. But I do think it is a pinnacle of what this game has to offer, story-wise, and it is a massive lore drop. On top of the Sea Emperor herself being just fucking awesome. I think I know where I want to put this one. I think I would put this actually at the top of A. We will replace our lily pad cave and we'll put the Sea Emperor at the top. This room has a massive impact on the emotional toll the story has. I think it's peak Subnautica lore. It's a great time. It's an absolutely fantastic way to try and wrap up what is a very long and confusing at times, but ultimately fun story. And it's a very good way to wrap up this tier list. So I'm going to click my camera out of the way so you can see the entirety of this tier list. Check it all out. See what you agree with. See what you don't agree with. If you want to cuss me out in the comments, if you want to let me know what I did right or wrong, feel free. There was a lot in S tier, there's a lot in A tier, a whole lot in B tier. But as I mentioned, I think Subnautica is very good at making each biome have a purpose for the most part. I think all of our Fs are from below 0, but hey, it's to be expected sometimes. One of our 3Ds, the rest of its stuff, I think they're all pretty fitting. Whether it was because it's an iconic moment or because the resources there or just cannot be ignored. We placed everything where I felt it needed to be. A little bit of a disagreement with the mountain stuff. A little bit of disagreeing with the mountain stuff and a little bit with the kelp forest from Subnautica 1. But ultimately, the one things we all agreed on. The Lost River, the mountain island, the Gun Island, the void itself, our frozen Leviathan, and the twisted bridges. A little bit split down the middle on the Jellyshroot Cave, but hey, that's a tier list for you. That's just how it goes. This is the Kritur Subnautica tier list. This is the Kritur, partially assisted with Kritur Crew Subnautica tier list for biomes. Actually, a lot of I would say not a lot, probably about 4 or 5 of these were changed because you guys helped me see it from another perspective. So if you guys want to participate in conversations like this on YouTube, Twitch, whatever the heck else, hey, I'm going to start doing these a lot more. I do have a lot of fun with this. We spent 5 hours. A lot of that's going to be edited out in the video. We spent 5 hours talking about this. I love to explain why I think the way about certain games, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well, and really take that for me and try and see if maybe I could have a change of heart or if I could possibly change the way you think about this stuff as well. Well, that is officially it for our time here with this Subnautica tier list. And wow, that was a long one, but damn was it fun. I really love so many things about this game. Obviously, some things that I might not agree with, but ultimately, it all stems from me just wanting the best from what I think this game can offer. The endless possibilities of an alien ocean world. As much as I was scared to play this game early on in my days dealing with the thalassophobia that I have, I'm so glad I locked in. Even in creative mode, it was still giving me a little bit of a scare. But hey, Subnautica 2 is on the horizon. If you enjoyed what we have for now, there's going to be more of these tier lists coming out as well. Shout out to the members of the community and the chatters up above. The extra support you guys provide means oh so very much to me. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.